Misters are.
It's the Copenhagen Major Grand Final Revisited. W7m and Liquid here on the B stream, and I'm joined by the very lovely Fluke. How are you? A bit late before, by the way. Some may have noticed a little timer got added, and whose fault may that be?
Technically, kind of mine. Okay, there's something that's going to happen in the mid-show on the A stream that I might have been involved in. I'm not involved in anymore.
Right.
Because I'm here instead. Maybe I was late. I wasn't like Parker late though.
Not
so
Parker late.
I
Parker
was late because I was maybe doing other things.
Okay, I won't give you all of the blame. We got a really good match though, and I was sitting here early because of how big this game is going to be. Little bit of a recap, obviously, kind of past halfway point for today in terms of stream B. I was here earlier, of course, had the pleasure with your co-caster and Mr. Hap. We had NIP
That's who
GK.
that is? Yeah, no, you did have Hap. You did have NIP GK. You did have a match of Rainbow Six Siege. I had the Guzzler, Guzz himself.
Yeah.
Big old Guzz, they call him.
I don't know if he calls himself the Guzzler.
The U to the double ZZ.
Yeah.
That's what they call him.
Your game, I think, was a little bit more entertaining than mine.
It was pretty intense. It was Australia getting a map and then losing the series.
Yeah, very disappointing game. I got my hopes up. I was like this close as I was watching that last map, and it was like 5-5. I'm like, if this goes to 6-5 match point bliss, I'm like running downstairs and I'm gonna run onto the stage and like hug them all.
Yeah,
and they just like proceeded to lose.
You came through after map 2 and you did give him a big hug after the win, and things went wrong. And talking of your relationship with teams, here we are with two Brazilian teams, w7m versus Liquid.
Yeah.
You, I guess, trying to rebuild some emotions here.
I love Team Liquid. You want to know a fun fact, right?
I love fun facts.
Team Liquid is like my favorite organization.
Right.
And that's about it. That is just a fun fact. I've just been like
That's a fun fact.
A Liquid fanboy for a very, very long time. Obviously, I'm completely impartial when it comes to commentating games where they may be involved.
So impartial.
Yep. I also do like W7m. Why? They're winners. I like winners. Bit of a bandwagon rider. They've won the last 2 championships. They won the last 2 majors. So you know what? I like both teams.
You delivered that like Wolf of Wall Street character would. Like, why? I like them. They're winners. I like winners. I'll make a deal. W7m. They are winners. They've won everything. And as you sort of so rightly put it at the start of this, they won the finals that Liquid had the opportunity to earlier on this year.
Yep.
Pretty cleanly. 3-0.
Yeah, and now I guess in terms of what's on the line for this particular group as we go to the map Vetoes, Clubhouse is a map that Team Liquid very much enjoy. That's probably one of their more preferential maps, so they do get that. We got a consulate, and if required, bank. It feels like the consulate bank day. I think you guys had actually had bank as well over on the A stream. I know that me and Hat, we had consulate and bank, so we'll see if that comes to fruition. Now, the group here for Group C is kind of shaping up a little bit nicely. Everyone's kind of like had wins and losses except M80. Sorry, M80. But, you know, you got like VP top of the group right now just based on the tiebreakers. That's great. W7m probably don't like that, so they'd love a win here. For Team Liquid, they win this game. Suddenly, they're in contention going into the last day that they could find themselves going into that #1 spot because they actually play M80 tomorrow.
They do. It's the only group where we don't have anyone confirmed. This game will change that, quite obviously. That's how playing more video games works. If M80, who are going to be playing on the other stream at some point, whenever that game starts, lose 2-0, they are in very dire straits, but that would confirm.
I think it's on this stream, like right after us.
Oh, is it on this stream? Okay.
And by the way, it's W7m's last Series 4 group. So they are the one from this particular group that does not play tomorrow. It'll be Liquid, then they'll be playing M80. And VP versus Bleed, which is going to be a fascinating game in itself. Now, mind you, obviously, I think when you kind of look at this group in particular, M80 sticks out like a sore thumb. Hate to say it, sorry, but they are looking very likely that they could be heading home. And that might actually be all but confirmed by the end of today.
Yeah. It's entirely possible. Obviously, you've got Liquid, again, if they're able to take a point from this, then that puts M80 out of reach. Bleed, if they take a point from M80, then it can start to make that even sort of worse. And it started. They're one of only 3 teams in the competition that hasn't been able to get a single map across the entire board, the other being the 2 Korean teams.
Now, the other part of this as well, Virtus.pro aren't playing today, but they will play tomorrow against Bleed. Right now, they're tied with w7m. So this game for w7m and tomorrow's game for Virtus.pro are essentially the 2 matches that are going to determine who gets that top spot. Now, what do you get for top spot in your group respectively? Well, you get to go straight to the quarterfinals, which that in itself sounds nice. What's even better, though, is the team that you will then eventually play in said quarterfinal will be a 2nd or a 3rd place team, which means you avoid all the other teams that finish top of their group until at least the semi-final. So clearly you've got yourself a very nice little roadmap in the playoffs. That's what you want, certainly something that you would like to achieve. For Liquid, they must win this. For w7m, probably likely needs to win this, but not a guarantee. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow with VP. We go to Clubhouse for this series to begin with Liquid and w7m, and it is w7m on the defense. And last I checked, this map has been like the most defender-sided map of the tournament.
Oh yeah, she is a defensive beast, and she has not yet really been tamed. Though, in the game earlier with FaZe and Bliss, it was generally over towards the attack. In fact, FaZe were flawless on their attacks, trying to piece together and piece apart Australians. We'll see which of these 2 brings themselves a little bit closer to Boyle. Now, obviously, we talk about Copenhagen, we talk about that being a very big, impactful rematch, but they have, as being 2 teams from the same country, met quite a lot throughout the year. Generally, the recent history is something that leans a little bit more into w7m's favor, but that is kind of the w7m story against everybody. Palu gets the start off. He's trying to find the hunt on towards Hurts. Juice gets droned out and is going to drop off before he suddenly finds his head taken off by that DMR.
Yeah, it's an interesting start here as well, considering it's the map pick of Liquid, certainly their most preferred map in the pool, and for w7m, though, starting on the defense. So don't probably be too alarmed. If you are a Liquid fan, that maybe w7m get off to a good start. Big thing for Liquid here as well. Don't get sort of overawed by the situation either, considering they are going up against another Brazilian team. Little fight here from KZ, trying to just win this battle through 90. Ness gets the opening kill elsewhere. KZ keeps going on the Fenrir. This is a little bit aggressive. Probably doesn't need to overpeak this. Could just go back down main and does so.
Yeah, they're just going to pull themselves back. It's a long fight. It's still 2 minutes left in the round. You're wasting time, but Parley's on the catch of the loose player. The calls come through. They're well aware of at least one of the presence, but if they don't know about the player that could swing up at them, top blue, then they might find themselves, unfortunately, set to stage inside stage itself. It's Nade, just on the opposite end, but this is the other bit of pressure, and there's the catch of Palu. Forced down by a drone, well played, well caught, well herded. Herds and Philippox, the first 2 victims. How confident is Nade thinking he can stick?
Yeah, nicely done. Play off the logic bomb from Volps. Good little pinch. Clearly for Liquid, understanding they need to deal with the roamers first, and w7m showing aggression in this round early on. Even despite the fact that KZ eventually backed down main earlier in the round, they still had a couple of roamers up above. Philippox, Hurt's gone. So for Liquid now, 60 seconds, 2-player advantage. I like this at least from Nade over towards Secret. Can he maybe find a kill? Shotgun up close, bring it back a little bit. He's got to be careful as well that he doesn't kind of get himself into a tricky situation. Nesk does, of course, blow that up. But yeah, I think Nade has to probably commit to this. Only has 1 more gas babe anyway, so not really too much worth going back towards site. Does get droned out, and talk about timing. Oh, Nade! Double shot, double kill. Trade eventually from Lagonas, but does the damage.
Being caught out mid-animation on the throw, getting the first, and then finding the second as the 3rd player. He's on the window watching for that is absolutely devastating for Liquid's approach here. It's a 3 versus 2, but it really should be a 5 versus 2 as they drop right into the Fenrir mine and try to find their way in towards the swing on Moto. 10 seconds, JV92 pops up, pops 1 down, 2 down, looks for the fight onto the 3rd. They're lost in the smoke, in the fire, and Liquid blown away.
Well, that's not the start to a game you'd like. I mean, the start was actually pretty nice for Liquid. 2 opening kills, dealt with the roam pretty convincingly. Then there's just a man inside Secret with a shotgun. He's mid-animation. Surely it's an easy kill. Hey, we just droned him out. No, 1 by 1 they fall as they pushed in. Volps and Nest get caught. Lagonas did get the trade, so even then, when they went to site, they still had the 3-on-2 advantage. They still had the numbers, 30 or so seconds, so that's plenty of time, but clearly didn't have enough time to get the information of those on site. That was the downfall, and for Liquid, they'll be honestly shaking their heads with the way that that round developed.
I mean, to be honest, that's all right, now the game starts kind of round. in a way, it's good that it happened on the very, very first round because you can sort of brush it off a little bit and say, this is us warming up. They had the full catch on that power player, that power position on the swing, and then they just messed it up in the politest way of possibly putting it. I will have to take a little bit more of the criticizing role between the pair of us because you need to get in Brazil's good books again.
I'm always in good books for Brazil.
I've seen your Twitter.
Okay, so for those a little bit unaware, and we're on the B stream, so we can all speak candidly. We're all friends here,
We're
right?
all friends here.
Yesterday, I may have put out a bit of a for fun tweet after Bleed's
It was a
miraculous victory, if you will,
Yeah.
against said Team Liquid.
Yep.
And look, in banter spirits, I was like, oh, look, maybe we should take away some of the Brazilian spots, because every single tournament, Emmy, how many times do I have to hear about Apex shouldn't have these many teams?
Yeah, every
I do it once
every tournament.
back in a jokingly spirit.
And someone...
And, well, actually, they retweeted it, the old main
account. The main account. That's sort of when things went a bit downhill.
But the fun fact for those watching, of course, here in the B stream, I do love Brazil. It's been a beautiful time here in Sao Paulo. And I do love these teams as well. Good start as well from w7m to offset what was a bit of a disadvantaged position. Great from Nate. Good individual play. We go upstairs for the second round now here for w7m over towards Cash and CCTV. Electing to avert away from Gym Bedroom, which is typically considered the secondary site, if you will, here on Clubhouse. Nevertheless, though, for Liquid, they'll continue to play that kind of slow approach. The other thing as well, that opening round, Liquid is one of 5 teams that are over 30% in terms of their plant success rate. They were not able to get the plant down in that last round. We'll see if they can go one better here in the second.
About half the time left here, and nobody's been snapped up as of yet. Obviously, the first 2 bodies that were taken out pretty cleanly, pretty quickly by Liquid last time led to no success, and that is the opposite of success, but they've at least found some instant revenge. However, that's the ace gone. That's half your hard breach taken out of the pockets. You're looking at maybe... obviously, the break onto the construction wall that leads in towards the site itself. Everything else roughly been done, though you might be a little bit more limited as to your approach towards the bottom of garage and the swings on the holds elsewhere. However, still trying to just find the lead in onto that first fight, get in underneath. It's always the familiarity of 2 teams that have played each other a lot, whether inter-region or not, that the drives become very specific.
Yeah, checklist has been good from Liquid. Jacuzzi, con single wall opened up, main breach as well. Player outside CCTV window. In fact, that is a good position for Volts to try and maybe get a good peek from. Almost had an opportunity to take out JV92, of course, who's going to try and block this window with more keeper barriers. Not a bad little angle, but you want to get rid of it. Lyconis gets caught, though. That's kicked down on the balcony just outside the bedroom window. Volts as well can't win his one at the CC window. A very important position to be won on Cash and CCTV. And W7M do indeed win it out. 2 rounds in a row for them on the defense.
I mean, it's the perfect start for them. It's the energy. You said it before. It's a very defender-sided map. It's a very defender-sided place and play to go to. You get that bonus of time. And time, weirdly, has been a much more terrifying sort of entity around this tournament. And I think the majors earlier on throughout this year, there seems to be a little bit more trepidation in the approaches, a little bit more caution. However, it's SI. It's understandable. Very scary. Would you be fine approaching this one? How are you? Are you good at the game?
Am I good at the game?
Yeah.
See, this is the thing. It's all subjective, is it not, Emmy?
No, there's a ranking system.
Exactly. There is a ranking system.
That removes the... That adds a statistical element to the question.
I think the highest... Look, I'm like a plat. I'm like a plat. But that's also like OS plat, which is probably like European silver.
What's the OS rankings of talent?
I would probably put James first. James is Dev Martyr, of course, for those unaware.
He can't stop playing.
Definitely would put him first. Then I'd have to definitely go Guz. Okay. But it's debatable if it's our observer Sky. I want to include him. They're about equal.
Yeah, he's part of the talent.
Then it's me, and then it's oh well, I mean including Mandy as well. I forgot about Mandy. Sorry, Mandy, but she'd be about the Guz level.
Yeah.
And then Manic would be below me.
Okay. How far below?
Not very far. In fact, probably the same level. Let's be honest.
Okay.
And
That's very polite.
He would debate that he's higher than me.
That's very polite of you. But he's a host, so you know,
Hosts don't know. That's why they host.
I'm gonna use that one. Hosts don't know. What do they know? I thought that was gonna be a mirror window trick onto the exothermic. which was placed. They seemed ready to want to deploy it, and then didn't. I'm not sure if they sort of tried something that would have been insane. Either way, the wall's still open. CC, if you're unaware, the push of this, they'll try and get control of the top of red. Fenrir on the board has made this push very tricky. A lot of teams struggle when they get the swing towards top red.
Yeah, it didn't probably touch on the bans either. Of course, no Kaid available. Got banned out by Liquid. The Tubera 2 not going to be involved. No surprise there, especially on a very prominent map like Clubhouse. Okay, from below, Fleetbox with the Nitro Cell. Another really good start to the round for W7M. Liquid have done well in terms of their checklist approach, but unfortunately, they're just not winning very critical battles. That's a full white JV, by the way. Top red stairs. The Fenrir F not mine, not going to be helping out too much there. And good responses here from Liquid, but Parley can't make it back out alive.
I mean, the fact that he just sort of hopped in to Jim and sort of went, I can try and steal a kill inside the site itself and then pull back, the mirror window going up and then instantly being punched out is a bit of a play, but he still wins the swing. Herds takes off ex-teammate Volps' head. Once upon a time, they played together on a success, and now, well, with the change of jersey, it's a change of fate. So Lagonis stuck outside a little as Nade gets a bit under pressure. Neska's trying to offer some support. And again, you think about how the first kills go, how it starts to fall into Liquid's favor, and then suddenly W7M pop their heads up and pull them apart.
No utility for Liquid. No flashes left for Lagonis. It has to be these dry peaks, these triangles, and it is not going to be successful, at least not just yet. Now in the 1 versus 2. Lagonis, Goomine, always annoying. Doesn't even have time to pull it out because KZ gets the kill. 3-0 start for W7M. Fist bumps all around, and already forcing out a tactical timeout from Team Liquid.
I mean, it's early, mate.
Was that meant to be an Australian accent?
No, this wasn't Australian.
Okay.
I can... Oh, can I
what is your best Australian accent?
My best Australian accent? I need to take off one of my headphones.
One of your headphones?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
oh, yeah, the ear cuff. Yeah.
You don't want to do like just like a stereotypical, oh, nah, mate. I shrimp on a bar, but you don't want to do that.
No, you definitely don't want to do that. No one wants to hear that either.
That's my James Devmar impression.
I don't think that's quite...
Oh, I love Rainbow Six Siege, mate.
That is awful. That is actually awful.
I'm great.
This is not even Australian.
Playing Ranky.
Ranky. That's fresh.
Yeah, that's fresh. Do you say Ranky in Australia?
No.
What's Australian for ranked?
Ranked.
Boring.
I think fresh is the only one that has a term for ranked by calling it Ranky.
That's so not Vamos of you.
Okay. Well,
Australian. I can't really do an Australian accent.
No.
Not too great.
Sorry. Luckily for you, I can't do a British accent, so we're even there.
Neither can fresh.
3-0 start for W7M. They do the world tour, and now we head back down to the basement. Clean start for them. Admittedly, the original time we did come to Church and Arsenal, it wasn't too bad of a start for Liquid, and arguably probably should have won the round. So, look, a little bit of an inflated scoreline, but W7M are so good, you can't make mistakes, and also, they're more than capable of pulling out some very miraculous plays. We saw that from Nade in the opening round. The other 2 rounds, though, up above, top floor, were pretty clean from W7M, so they didn't really give that many options for Liquid.
I think... Okay, this might be a controversial statement. Not too bad. It depends on who you're talking about. I think that sometimes when the teams are of the talent that they can be, when you sort of say it should have been this round or it could have been this round or whatever.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda?
Shoulda, coulda, woulda, didn't. Because the teams are good enough to fight back against a deficit. Sometimes teams get a bit lucky that the better team will make mistakes and whatever. Sometimes I think the onus of pressure is actually on a team. W7M, for me, you're always going to be one of those quality teams at the minute where even if things are going away from them, if the round gets into their favor, even though say you're in like the 4 versus 2 or whatever, you're going for the collapse, 20 seconds left, it's a lot less certain doing that against a team like W7M than it is, say, doing it against other region teams and other teams. But that's all just up in the air. What isn't up in the air? Apparently the roam game so much.
I have an interesting proposition for you, though, very quickly, Emmy, which is the fact that Liquid beat Virtus.pro back on day 1 of groups. That sounds great, right? But then Virtus.pro, after losing to Liquid, went and beat W7M. Does this now mean Bleed, who beat Liquid, is better than W7M because they beat Liquid, who beat VP, who beat W7M?
Bleed are going to top the group.
Very well good. They do play later this afternoon against M80. Many would consider them favorites in that matchup, which is incredible for APAC.
I love that idea. Obviously, they are the joining together of APAC and Brazil, with Julio behind the team for now as well. Really bringing everything together.
Like one big family. 90 seconds left in this fourth round. Not a lot happening on the top floor. No real roam game this time around from w7m, playing more into the mirror. And the Warden and the on-site play, especially with that Azami and the keeper barriers, which does now mean for Liquid, they can go over towards Kitchen, open up some of these floorboards. They still haven't dealt with the hatches, though, at least in towards Kitchen. They have got stock, they have got Moto, but no Kitchen hatch.
No, it's going to make things a little bit slower, but they've got plenty of time to get through it. They're not really tricking against it. The Habana upside down repel, you sort of do the pellets like this to bait out impacts. It's very easy to impact trick against it, and well, it just stops that happening. Church wall. Oh, whoops.
Whoopsie.
Yeah, that's going to be shotgunned off so you don't accidentally blow yourself up. Nade cannot use explosives to his namesake, apparently. And Church wall does get opened as well. It puts a huge amount of pressure here on towards the remaining w7m players, because remember how the swing came through from Liquid last time? They were stuck on Moto just trying to find fights.
Yeah, 40 seconds left in the round. Try and push down Secret. Good shot from Palu. Talk about an entry play. Where's the trade going to come from? JV, he's the one that will get that trade. Reset, though, also continuing this onslaught from Liquid onto site. 4 versus 1. Just like that, blink of an eye, the round's over.
Bleepox, he's got himself tucked onto the default. Swings onto one, swings almost onto the second, but he knows pressure's coming. And at that point, it was just Liquid flooding around the box over Moto, and that was a better Liquid approach there. Now, w7m, as I said, they did not have the roam play that they did last time. They didn't have those 2 early bodies, which weirdly worked in Liquid's favor here, because they went, okay, well, we've got the other 2 sides. We can start our setup. We can start putting pressure onto Church Wall, onto the sort of backside of Blue and all of this areas where last time they just did not have the time because of the roam taking it out of them.
Yeah, really decent round from Liquid. The fact that they obviously dealt with stock and motor hatches really early on meant that they could kind of take their time a little bit with Kitchen. They didn't have to worry too much about time. A lot of teams, sometimes they struggle a little bit around that Kitchen area, and then with like a minute left, they go, oh, we still got to go and get Moto opened up. You know, obviously there's no Kaid, so getting hatches here on Clubhouse is going to be a far more easier task than what it would typically be with those Electro Claws, especially if the Thatcher's also banned out. It is available. He's been brought as well here by Volps, which is interesting, but ultimately, good from Liquid, and I think a deserved result too, because again, that opening round on basement was pretty decent from there. Go back to the coulda, woulda, shouldas. It didn't, but still, nevertheless, they get a result here on the board here on the 5th round.
All right, w7m. Back to CCTV. We're not seeing Gym Bar sight from them as we did before. And Solace is on the board in the pockets of Philippox. There is, obviously, a lot of softs underneath this site, and both the second story ones have that problem operator and problem area. In fact, you look around the right-hand side of your screen, that's 4 problem operators in a clash right there.
That is indeed.
Like, this is a lineup where, like, if you come up against this in Ranky, you're like, nah. Nah, I'm quitting.
Zami, Valkyrie, Fenrir, and Solus, and all have been heavily banned out throughout this tournament, alongside the likes of Tubarao, of course, who is banned in this instance with the Kaid. Main breach opened up. Clash is also a problem. The Clash is like, I'm going to protect my very troublesome defensive operators and make sure that they can stay alive as long as possible.
I mean, it's quite a position to go there, Clash.
Oh,
and that wasn't a great move by JV92 to sort of, I don't know if they just got stuck top of rafters and were like, I've got to take a risk here because of that exact situation. As soon as they get on the back of the window, and as soon as they're out there, that Clash isn't going to be able to pass cleanly without going underneath and risking a fight elsewhere. So they took an opportunity before they got stuck and isolated in Garage, where people have practiced for days throwing explosives and things up towards top rafters. The bottom of the building gets smashed open. There goes the death, and JV92 can only just watch now. His army's done.
Yeah, that's a big kill. So that's the Rafters player. That's the Azami too. Bit of generative utility with those keeper barriers, and more importantly, opens up that Rafters position, and Garage becomes a bit more vulnerable. I was going to say the Capitao banned out by Liquid, which, you know, those incendiary bolts can help clear out Rafters on this particular map. And Resets finds another one. It's the Clash, the pesky Clash. So a lot of this on-site defense from w7m in terms of Rafters and also CCTV has been largely dealt with, which is now leaving these w7m members around top red, around cash, and in lounge. So they've lost a large portion of what makes defending cash and CCTV so successful, and Nesk just walks straight in through breach.
There's only one player on side the site. There was one player underneath it, and Herds, he's off in Narnia. He's stuck underneath. Nate is sort of like, come on,
Vault
mate.
this, go CC window, do it. Go on,
I'm
Nate.
a little bit alone, and well, that might be a smartest option. They're pushing up red. They're watching for the rotate. They're ready for this fight. They're going for the run, and he stops it. Great call and bit of util there. Probably a cam. I mean, almost definitely, but it's hers on the back end of Rafters. Sneaking around. Has he been known? Has he been spotted? Has he been pushed? Nade's pulled off. He's giving them a little bit of space so Herds can get in because the plant isn't down. Here's the strike around the back. He sees the plant being put in the corner, gets the catch, and once again it's cold. Top red in the middle of sight. Herds is dancing around bullets like he's trying for his life. The rotate round outside. Nade! He heard you. He heard the audience. He heard the players. And Liquid, with one player still outside. 2 versus 1. Palu gets the kill. A 1 versus 1. He's close on the swing. 8 seconds. He can't get the wing, and it is somehow w7m.
There is too much to go over. I almost feel like I want to like call Pengu over and be like, come, just take this round for me, please, because I'm no analyst, but I'm no color caster. But the fact that for Liquid, they were able to largely deal with Rafters, open up Garage, get control of that, dealt with the Clash, which is a big part of the defense there for w7m, opens up the majority of the site. Nade's effort there to at least deal with a bit of that on-site pressure initially through main breach. Herds with the rotate. Nade then moving around. Eventually did then go outside on the balcony, shooting through CC window. So he's constantly moving. He's not just stagnant. They denied plant twice as well in that moment from w7m. Liquid didn't do a whole lot wrong. I want to preface that. I don't think they did so much wrong.
Disagree.
So you can disagree. We're like, I just think w7m just went to a different level to outplay them.
This is what they did wrong.
Okay, tell me.
It's the 5 versus 2. They have CC breach open. They know that Nade is off on the opposite side. Why are they planting or holding onto the plant and trying to push further and further in? They have control of the default site. They have the watch on the window. They can have a player in Garage, 1 top red, 1, or even just outside the breach in Garage. They could have
just planted right at the entry point.
So comfortably. Yeah. And instead, there was this maybe a misidea of where the player was underneath. Even then, you just have that watch on. It was a 5 versus 2.
Well, you brought that up, though.
Site control.
They hadn't dealt with the player in lounge just yet, though. And so maybe there is that thought process where it's like, well, if we just go for that main breach plan and there's the player still in lounge, it could get denied. But, I mean, ultimately, there's so much happening in that moment for Liquid to think about all these different scenarios when you could just say, let's go a little bit more default, deep into side.
Do you know what denies a plant 100% of the time? Not planting. 4 versus 4. Volps and Herds both trade out, and that's probably a weirdly big blow here to the loss of the ace. But I don't know if both mirror windows were deployed. I think only one might be. Yeah, only one. Mirror window in pocket. Who needs it?
Yeah, I mean, not really a big issue either because you still had the Ash available. You got double hard breach, so I don't really think losing Volps here was going to be all that influential for Herds. The fact that you maybe lose out on that Nitrocell later in the round, especially playing that sort of key position where you probably do want to keep the pressure onto Jacuzzi itself. 4 versus 4, like you said. 4-1 scoreline just feels to me like w7m has been the better team, but to 4-1?
It's one of those sort of moments where the sort of little microcosms of things going wrong become these macro problems.
Yeah.
And they're emphasized because Liquid are on the pressure of attack. They're seeing if they can try and make these. And those little plant moments, those little, oh, we haven't got this swing, we haven't got this player, become lost rounds. If they're on the defense, they might be 1 rounds. Here, w7m, they've eked on by. They swing and pop up and pop him down. And they're looking for the second. Takes a lot of damage, KZ. Lagonis does find JV92, so they've isolated 1 player on the main stairs.
Yeah, 60 seconds left, but it's a kind of big stack over towards this Jacuzzi side. Resets out towards the gym window on the balcony. Does at least offer something different. Ness can now make his way in through bridge. Nade, though, towards logistics. I think he's going to be a big factor here for w7m defensively. Big kill from Philippox, though, over towards Con through the doorway. Gets the kill onto resets. That's now 1 inside the bathroom. Ness inside. KZ down below. Ness trying to just clear that position in Con. They've still got Nade towards logistics. KZ's going for a massive rotate, but he might not even be needed. Down to just Lagonis. 25 seconds. The 1v3. That's one, but the trade immediately from Con comes through. Philippox, 2 massive kills from that Con position, understanding that the push there from Liquid was rather one-dimensional on that Jacuzzi side. He could just sit in Con. No one's coming from behind.
So if either of them get 1 map, 1 point, regardless of whether they lose the series, they qualify. They're out of the danger zone. They will make it, obviously. These are 2 rosters that want to fight.
Is that guaranteed?
I believe 6. They would be on 9, so there's only a possible of 8 total.
Well, I mean, Liquid's only got the 4 points.
Oh, w7m then. I just can't read my own writing. Oh, yeah, no. Virtus Pro and w7m need just 1 point.
Yeah.
I just wrote it really. I walk around a lot when I cast. This is something that you get used to. I do a lot of weird poses on furniture.
Maybe you can get like a dance routine.
Sick. That would be great. Can I get like a dance mat to control the camera? That'd be better.
Good exercise.
Yeah, it keeps me active. Do you know what this is? Bit of a stretch. 5-1 here. I mean, as you sort of said, it doesn't feel like a 5-1 game, but that is just...
Maybe it's the nature of the fact that w7m have started on defense. Super defend decided map. It's been like 73% or something. I don't have it in front of me. So fresh. He's got the numbers. But regardless, now for Liquid, they go on the defense. And those little microcosm moments, like you kind of mentioned, I think will always tend to favor the defense instead of the attack. And that might just be the difference maker now for Liquid. I think they've played okay for the most part, but again, just those little differences. And w7m have been better in the clutch. They've certainly had more high-impact plays. And therefore, that's why the scoreboard has inflated out to 5-1. But Liquid certainly should not feel as if they're out of this. We've already seen enough at this tournament. Like, a couple of years ago, I would have looked at the scoreline and been like, oh, this one's probably over. But not anymore. Not in this meta. Absolutely not. Liquid are on defense. They can 100% replicate what we just saw from w7m.
They get one breath, one chance to not miss their opportunity to take care of this first map, which is w7m's map, and it is a map that w7m have time and time again proven, hey, we're a very good clubhouse team. Nesk, hey, I'm a very good Valkyrie player. That's been known for the many, many years. He has touched and blessed this game with his presence. At least they're hunting the camera. They're paying him the respects that you know these two teams will pay each other.
And the other thing as well, in terms of really nailing home the fact that Liquid can bring this back, they're like bottom 5 at this tournament in terms of attacking win rate. Like, that is actually how bad they've been. For obviously a tournament where everyone is kind of struggling to attack, they're bottom 5, but their defense is like 70%. So that's actually quite high.
Yep.
So they've got every chance of being able to bring this back. It's not over by any stretch of the imagination. The good news, though, for w7m is by starting on defense first, they have this buffer, right? And it also means they get a couple of free punches here to try and extend this to match point territory.
The strange sort of confrontations with their own history, the strange sort of comparisons that you're able to make, again, with the directness of them playing at the final. There's actually how they performed at this tournament versus how these two teams played at Copenhagen, where they got into the finals. And Liquid have actually been performing better on an average than they were. Palu especially. However, all of w7m currently performing worse as a statistical average, and obviously, well, they've taken losses, something that they weren't really used to before. Church and Pipes is about to have the sweet sound of a shotgun pump into it as soon as Nade gets a little bit closer. He's and Ash working the kit all the way in. They've seen the spot and taken a second to get in. I'm not sure if they are going to try and duck the kit just close in the inside, covered by the audio. They lost the first fight, but they've been able to do this. A post-plant situation of 4 versus 4, and Liquid at this point have to try and move Nade out the back and then go for the retake on the vertical. That positioning can be covered and watched so well from above, so it's got to be a 2-story retake.
Yeah, I've seen this play. I think it was like D+ Kia or someone from APAC. It was one of the Korean teams, and they kind of just slip in, go bot main with the kit, and then go into the rotate hole, and you plant it right next to it. You can't be seen from those at the back of Arsenal, and clearly it worked again. You get the plant successfully here for w7m, but now it's about defending it in the 2-on-3.
Palu, he's found a lion. He's finding the next fight as well. They're going for the defuse. And there it is, the 2-story retake. Very clever play there from Palu to know the rotate, and very good awareness from Liquid to sort of go, okay, well, this is where the kit is.
Yep.
We need point A upstairs.
It's the beauty of Siege, right? Kit's on the ground, basement, and your first instinct should now be to go above. Like, you don't go straight to the kit. You do that, you're going to lose the round. So they understand what they need to do. The win condition there is simply to retake up above kitchen. There's going to be the double stack there from w7m. I don't mind what w7m did here in the fact that they go for the more fast plant, not conventional. How many times have we seen teams like open kitchen hatch, go for the drop, go for the default plant? Everyone's watching it, and especially on that back angle of Arsenal, you can watch that hatch largely uncontested, but one thing you can't watch from that angle is that little slip in on the rotate from bot main. So clearly teams are kind of working that out a bit, but it means you've still got to be able to defend it. w7m couldn't, and Liquid get their second round.
There was only about 4 seconds, 3 seconds in it. I wasn't entirely precise on the time because we were watching the fight up top, and during that, I think Legonis went and snuck his way in for the defuse anyway, but Liquid, they had their timing, they had their pace, they have their first. They are sort of doing two missions right now. Operation, let's try and get the win on this map, which means win everything ahead of them. Flawless. The rest of this before they hit OT. The second one, try and get as many before they hit OT. There might be one mistake, one slip up, one round that goes away from them, whether it's w7m just play it better or they make a mistake. They're allowed one and only one. The further they can go, the distance they can cover before they hit that situation, obviously the happier and better they will be. The Bandit will be the first port of call here as they go for a classic break onto this wall. With the Thatcher on the board, they really should be able to get this open pretty cleanly. Not too much of a cost. The first roll. Off. There's the Salma on the opposite end to ensure that the Bandit cannot trick these two sides. Resets isn't even going to try.
Yeah, I just had to go and have a bit of a double take because I was looking at the map vetoes and kind of surprised me that it was w7m that obviously ended up picking this particular map of Clubhouse, because when I originally looked at Team Liquid, it was, well, this very map, that was actually their favorite map.
Well, this is w7m, and what they do is they go, oh, this is your favorite map.
We feel bad for you, so here you go.
No, no, no. They don't even do that. They go, this is your favorite map. We feel better than you. We're going to beat you on it. They've done it to BDS here. They did it to Virtus Pro, I believe, at one point. They've done it to G2. And, well, they may as well do it to Liquid as well. Fair is fair in trying to take people. It's a confidence thing, but also they have a very decent map pool. They have a very good awareness of what they want to do across all of them. It's one of the things that's made them as a team so consistently strong and drop such a little amount of maps. Volps gets rid of Herds, gets the opener, which has generally been a statistic that has felt like it's gone a lot more into Liquid's favor throughout the series.
Yeah, 60 seconds left and resets now. Because he obviously wasn't able to stop main breach, he's just trying to keep Cash from being opened up and did so successfully. That's going to really annoy w7m because it means that they're going to have to walk through this doorway if they really want to make their approach from Con's side. That's exactly where the kit is as well. KZ's still out on that main breach towards CCTV, and he does get a kill onto Nesk. So at the very least, keeping Liquid honest on the defense by having one player there, but there's no pressure on Rafters. Double stack from Volps and Palu. They do look to overload Cash though. Volps does get a kill, a nice little angle from said Rafters position. Again, there's no real pressure there from w7m. He gets a third one as well. Well, I guess this is why teams do like to clear out said Rafters position, because this is what you can do. Volps gets 4, 5, the ace from Volps. Someone at some point probably needed to push Garage or Rafters. He just had a free firing range in towards sight. There's all 5 from Volps.
Did he get the last 2 with the super shorty? He just screamed in from holding out a position like, oh, that's where they are. And that's where my ace is. First ace I've seen from my personal side of the tournament. I know it's not the first ace of the tournament, but that felt so weirdly understated. It was, as you said, they had this position in Garage. Here comes the double. Oh, it was Volps with 1 and then the super shorty for the second.
Yeah, I mean, in that instance, right, if you're just going to go for a pretty one-dimensional con push, you haven't really got a whole lot. Maybe you got 1 player on the rappel, which is what they had over towards main breach of Kennels, but there was no kind of garage pressure. And so that meant for Liquid, they had 2 players in Rafters that were just looking in towards sight. And w7m, at that point, you know, you're already taking fights in towards Cash. You're already taking fights in towards CCTV. You don't have the time to then have to worry about those on Rafters. They just needed at some point earlier in the round to probably try and get some kind of pressure over towards Rafters. It's difficult. It's no Capitao. Obviously, the Azami, it's annoying. It's an annoying position to deal with. But nevertheless, if you don't put any kind of pressure there, you see what Volps was able to do.
Because the first kill for Volps came from the top of Garage, I was like, okay, well, you know, they're working on that, and you see the bodies top red, that's other player, that's Lagonis, that's whoever. And then seeing Volps get the quad kill, I'm like, how has he done that from where he is? Because you cannot see that, and then you go into the replay, and it's like, oh, he just ran over. Yeah. He was just like, I need to be over here. This is where the people I need to kill.
Well, he had a good little murder hole as well, looking in towards Cash from Rafters, so through that doorway. So he was kind of able to watch them push in from Con to Cash as well. I think he was able to get involved. So
he wanted to get involved.
Really good defense from Liquid.
Jump in.
3-5 scoreline. I think a very apt and fair scoreline as well, with the way that this match has certainly played out thus far. Gym Bedroom, we go into the 9th round. w7m's attack certainly have had some question marks here to begin, Emmy, into the second half.
I mean, it's a game of two halves. That's really the clearest sort of look of it right now. As you said, they're a team that's done much better on their defense and much worse on their attack for Liquid. And statistically, that is something where w7m might be suffering a bit under the onus of as well. The quick break, the quick motion into construction as well, but the C4 at least stops some of that. Palu gets the C4 and gets rid of Ace. Now, that's one of their hard breaches done. A fully reinforced...
Yeah, I was going to say, what is that?
Logistics wall.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's obviously nothing you usually see, especially on this sort of side of it. They're saying stay away. There's also like a ankle height mirror window on the external sort of construction wall. It's made things very claustrophobic in construction.
Yeah, the good news as well for Liquid, and the reason why I think this will work is the fact that Jacuzzi hasn't been opened up. There's no pressure from w7m, so it really does kind of solidify site itself for them. Nade from Nest will get the kill onto Hertz. Two-player advantage Liquid in what's basically just a con push from w7m. JV trying to get a bit of pressure out towards that gym window. But that's about it. Right now, w7m are just like getting strangulated here in towards con. They finally start to open up logistics. They're clearly worried about it. Under a minute left. But all of the pressure now on w7m to just try and find something. Double push into logistics. Lagonis, though, turned away. Right back. Hazy's watching. Nice kill from Lagonis. Gets the trade. 3-on-2. It's technically one left for Liquid. w7m through just sheer pressure.
What?
JV in the end. Gets two, pushing in from that gym bedroom side on the balcony, comes in, gets a couple of kills. Match point now, w7m.
I don't understand.
What a weird round.
Where did that come from? They were entirely full sending it to a locked construction, lost the opener, lost the follow-up man as well, with Ness getting the swing.
It's a 5-on-3.
And then they're just like, let's just double swing logic. You can see one entering on gym bedroom on the far side.
JV, and he got two. I think in that moment, JV got those two because then Liquid were kind of like training their attention towards logistic because of the double stack. And so then he's just shooting them probably in the back at that point. I mean, what a round there from w7m where it's just like, hey, really goes to show, don't give up on these rounds. Yeah, it's a bit weird. You've got to deal with a reinforced logistics. You haven't opened up Jacuzzi. You don't really have the time to maybe send someone down below and go through main. Plus, also at that point, main stairs is hard because you don't have the angles from, say, like an open Jacuzzi to help you clear that area. Just brute force your way through, apparently. And the pressure on logistics then gave JV the chance to push his way in.
It's a noodle scratcher.
5 seconds left.
And Liquid would be disappointed because I think, again, to summarize for them, it's like, yes, you can be critical. There's things they did wrong. I'm not saying they didn't do anything wrong. But I like some of the things they were doing. It's just obviously they're going up against w7m.
I think, there's certain matchups and certain derbies where teams have the worst mental possible because you're against someone you're used to playing a lot. In EU, it was usually Wolves versus BDS. Wolves cannot beat BDS at all. It doesn't matter the form of the teams coming into the showdown. Here, Liquid, they're making these little moments, as you said, getting blinkered in to that fight and that approach before, something that they haven't suffered before.
Ness.
Great takes either side. JV gets one, and Ness gets revenge. The flash over the top, so they can try and scream up.
Oh, he's got to die
know
here.
it with the bees, and there it is, entirely blind. There's no surviving that at that point. Palu is going to be the next point of call. Just ducks underneath a bit of fire.
I do like the Grim there, but I think the Hive launcher to clear rafters is more perceived pressure, but you couple it with the flashes, you know exactly where they are because they're getting red pinned, and obviously, again, there's that perceived pressure. It's still actual pressure, too. 3 versus 4, though, still in favor of w7m, and they've got themselves rafters. As, of course, we are going to be down below. It doesn't really mean a whole lot.
No, it's sort of wasting time. It's always the roam does two things. The first is always going to be take time and utility out of the attackers. If you can trade off loads of utility and a minute and a half towards...
I mean, the ADDs were spotted anyway.
Second drone. Send it in. Roll it up. No more cap can. And now?
Yeah, good value there from at least those shock drones. And so for JV, gets rid of a lot of any potential threat, trying to eventually then push in towards site. And still, by the way, despite all of that, it feels like a lull. But because that entry was so fast, we've still got over a minute 10.
I mean, all the time in the world. All the time in the world to sort of pull themselves together. They've only really traded out the Grim for what is, Fenrir. Not the best.
I love the cover fire shots there, as if that's going to like mask the sound of just breaking through soft wall.
Like coughing for like a gun. Oh, you didn't hear that. Oh, they didn't
good
hear
shot,
that.
Hurts. I mean, this is really tough now for Liquid because they got pressure from Dirt, pressure from Blue. Good pinch towards Arsenal. Double stack into Church. There goes one anyway onto Palu. Game's done. Sorry to say it, especially for Liquid fans, because there is no world in which Lagonis is going to clutch up in the 1 versus 4. Not in any kind of universal world. He does get, though, 1 kill, 1 down onto JV. 1's pushing, but he's full wide. No way! We might just be living in the 1 in 14,605,000. If Lagonis wins this one, they go for the revive. They are double stack. He can't win it, though. Never mind. This is not the one.
Oh, that was so close. So close. So much closer. With the UMP. Ah, they didn't do it. They so close to do it, but w7m.
You know what, Emmy? The Brazilians right there, the Liquid fans, they just got a sense of the APAC edging. They just got a sense of what it's like to feel so close, but be so far. It's a 7-3 win for w7m in the first map here of Clubhouse, of course. They did pick Club, and they played it really well, and I think a scoreline that's probably fair when it's all said and done. Liquid did some okay things. They got a couple of rounds, but w7m far and away better.
Liquid did do some okay things. There's no two ways about that.
They did.
The things they did, they're okay. But it's not their map.
But you know what? We like winners. So w7m did better and more okay things.
Statistically, they did do better. They won the game, as you can see on the bottom of the screen. It was a very violent game. There was only really 1 plant which came into a counter.
I think most matches are violent.
Well, you never know. I've seen some teams that can struggle to kill. What else I've seen? Wonderful breaks in the future. How about right now? Bye.
Hard-break slot for something different. Rec using those Candelas currently over towards top blue. No one to directly follow that up.
No, it was for the clutch drone. Pion was being hunted on his clutch drone there, and he was calling it out. And they were playing ring around the Rosie on the door. He didn't want to swing because there was people on top. So Rec decided to throw in a Candela so the drone could actually go inside and check for utility. I've not seen a drone being flashed in, but you know, I guess it's always something new to see.
Rainbow Six in 2024. Well, those clutch drones critical though in countering the Fenrir, one of the more oppressive defensive operators at the moment. Flashes now to come through from Rec. That's the final Candela. Still a mine on the door. That wasn't hacked. Rec to push forward. Gets the first. And there's no immediate trade from Loss.
A lot of damage done into cameramen as well as the flashbangs come through. Double to follow, but it's just a trading game that we're seeing right now. There's openings in the walls and everybody's just running in wherever they can. Cameraman on the flank now with about 1 HP. He's gone unspotted so far. The plant again going down. Cameraman needs to strike true, but he misses the opportunity on Pion. And that might actually be the deciding factor for this round. As again, Command is the plays that they decided to go. And again, Scar's able to get that plant down. Not really being contested whatsoever. Can Cameraman go for that clutch? Is that big question. Well, with the amount of HP he has, I would be surprised if he sticks it and indeed gets shut down.
Well, success again for Scars on the top floor, and unfortunately for the defensive loss, in a more convincing fashion, walls opened up early, space created top blue. Despite some utils still standing, Rec was able to get the opening pick, and there was no immediate trade from Loss. So good work there from Scars, leveraging the tools that they had available. And now we'll see if they're able to formulate a response. Again, and it's probably a point brought up by every caster on every map of every series of the tournament so far, but attacks come at a premium at the moment, irrespective of the map. So for Loss, it's about sort of correcting course as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the defense has been about 61% of the rounds that were won at the start of the day. That's only been increasing, I believe, with some of the games that we've been seeing, or at least staying equal to it. So every attack that you manage to put on the board is going to be huge, especially if you're leading when you're on your attack here. If Scars can basically force this into like 3 attack rounds, maybe even 4, finding themselves in really good territory for the remainder of this match.
5 seconds to insertion.
So storage would go then for round number 4, and this is perhaps one of the more dynamic objectives I would describe it on this particular map. It offers the defense the ability to lurk down below and vert up into the objective, but also to hold up above and then flood down below. But this is also an objective where equally the defense, if they can strike true and find weaknesses in the setup, are able to exploit that, create a little bit of space, and in doing so pressure the site quite quickly. So we'll see how Scars look to approach. At the moment, just the Ash charge down below to facilitate the IT wall getting opened up. Dots flash. No immediate follow-up though. Elsewhere, the breach opened up.
More so about like using utility, using the Candela to make sure no one was going to go for a swing. It's always a bit like wondering. It's like you used to Candelas, you could have gotten a free kill if they knew that the person in there was going to be flashed. Fishlight does have a good spot out on one of those drones, so probably will have called that out, waiting for the rest of his team to get into a position where they can actually deal with that situation. Exothermic going off on the opposite side as well, so it seems for now that there's a lot of pressure coming down horizontal from both the Ying and the Thermite. The rest seems to be going up towards that top floor, seeing if they can get that vertical under control. Of course, top down is always a bit more tricky to deal with than bottom up, and that Ash Shark is going to be making sure that that mirror window is going to be cracked.
Cracked it is, now opened up, and Dash's position now compromised. For Lost, it's all about maintaining this man count and not creating a weakness for Scars to exploit. Rack up above. The Scars look to time something. Unfortunately, they haven't actually gotten a whole lot of map control at the midway point of the round. Yes, they've been able to poke and prod around, a couple of hard breaches open, but they need to force themselves in. And Fishlight says, well, okay, I'll just walk straight in. Yellow ping onto Maya, collects the kill. And Dots does not respond, nor does Cameraman. He'll fall as well.
Quickly exerts themselves as well, and they have a 2-minute advantage right now with about a minute left on that clock. It is plenty of time to start getting yourself towards either control or towards the storage room and start getting that plan down as well. Dot drops as he gets swung on by two different sides. Dash will strike back onto Pion, but the defuse is going through. As C4 gets tossed out, will blow up, and as Lowen will find a kill as well, we find ourselves in a 2v1 situation in favor of Lowe's. It seemed like this round was going to be a Scars round, hands down, but now it's only up to the last remaining member. Shut down quickly as well. Lowe's able to just shut down whatever Scars was cooking up there, even though it was like a 4v2 situation.
I mean, mechanically, they just did not put a foot wrong at all there. Every single shot was landing. The positioning as well was on point. Great nitro for plant denial. It looked good for Scars. I think they took a long time to sort of find that window of opportunity. Fishlight was then able to capitalize, finally get a kill off the back of that yellow ping. The rest of the team tried to follow up and it was somewhat successful, but unfortunately it then did fall apart.
That must have been like a lack of information, because as you mentioned, like everything was just going right. They weren't making any big mistakes. They were struggling in getting the nitro cell taken care of. That took out your diffuser planter, sure, right? But it's like you should normally still have like 3 other members left, but those all fell in their respective own ways as well. I love what all the
What was that?
I don't know what it was, but I love
cool.
like the items that people bring. Like VP, for example, has like a Bionicle with them. Some people have like plushies with Joel and a mannequin. It's always fun whenever we see like little personal items being brought out.
Attackers objective is to
Amy was
locate a
asking me
bomb.
actually this morning during our game if I was a player, what would I bring? I'll flip that question to you, Hap. If you were
what
playing
would
at
I
SI,
bring?
what would you bring?
I have to think about it.
It's a tough question, right?
It is a tough question.
I ended up just saying a
personal statement.
I just said a plush kangaroo, but that is very generic.
I don't know what I would bring. If I would have, right, you know, like the biggest... Okay, it would be branding if I say that now. Do-it-yourself bricks, you know, you stack on top of each other that have nice clicking. I'm not going to call out the brand. Bring that one with as we see the entry coming through. Of course, it is the basement top-down approach is important. And they do have the Jackal track to help with the roam clear. Now, they are hunting a player. Surely they are going to be falling down back towards the side as the second set of pings will be coming through. And they're all just trying to send as much let-down range as they can, but you should see it right here. Loben falling back. He's taking quite a bit of damage, but still alive. That's the most important part.
Oh. Yep, especially on that Solace roll. Want to have impact later in the round, but once again, that window is the demise of Lost. Such a powerful position for the attack to lock down. And it's 3 straight, unanswered. Lost struggling in this round, and the remaining 2 will now need to try and manufacture something pretty special here.
I mean, they did a 2v4 clutch just the previous round. Surely they can go for it again, as it does get a little bit harder, though. Only Dots left alive to try and find himself something here. He's moved himself up the stairs onto cargo, trying to hold himself into a bit of a disruptive position. And I understand, because you do not want to take a 1v5 onto the site. You're going to be losing that. You need to catch one or two off guard, then suddenly it's a 1v3. It's a lot more doable, especially if someone goes for the plans. But as he moves through, it's a flawless round from Scars to come in. And as you mentioned, those attack rounds are so valuable right now. They've found 3. Arguably should have had 4 so far, Scars. They have been dominating lows over those last couple of rounds.
Yeah, it doesn't get too much more dominant than a flawless round. And I think the most concerning element of that for Lost is that the attack never really got going on the objective itself. A lot of it on the periphery.
It's all up top, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the danger, right, when you go for such a heavy roam kind of play. And Scars read that perfectly. They just managed to find him as they were, well, falling back towards that first floor, really. It wasn't even back towards the site. And it seems all really controlled from Scars right now. We don't see any, like, panicky plays coming through, which we do sometimes, you know, when things do start to get close. It is very controlled environment right now. Like, they're doing what they have practiced a lot of times. And for now, Labs seems to be going into that direction quite decisively. I know it's still 2-3, but again, should have been 1-4. And that was only like because of the like amazing plays that we saw from the 2 remaining players that they managed to get back into that round.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
So we head back upstairs for the final round of the half. Loban prepping himself for something a little bit cheeky here, perhaps at the beginning of the round. One of the standout players at the Atlanta Major. For a standout roster, still pretty crazy to think that Lost made it to that grand final. Still, Loban sitting on a 1.15 at this event so far.
Alrighty, welcome back here for W7M Team Liquid. It's W7M who looked like the better team, and as we could see there, they were ready to go into this game. Started off as well with a nice little clutch there from Nate inside a secret. I think it really set the tone for the rest of the game.
Oh, horrifying tone. A horrifying tone of, unfortunately, things going away from Liquid. You could see these sort of little pockets of brilliances of Liquid that we're used to, and then miscalculations, errors, unfortunately. Things slipping away that W7M were allowed to punish, and it almost seems like, you know, you can see the emotion. You can see the heat of this game. It's the derby. Currently of 2 of the strongest, if not the strongest teams in this whole tournament, let alone just in this region.
And there's nothing like playing well in a derby. We saw an ace there as well from Volk. That brought it back to 3-5. At that moment in time, it really did feel like the script was going to say defensive-sided clubhouse. Yes, we've seen that time and time again. But in the end, W7M were able to overcome those little moments and won pretty convincingly. 7-3 against Team Liquid, who really did struggle in some areas. One area they didn't struggle in is the first kills.
It was seemingly continually theirs. I sort of made a comment about it during the game. I was like, it feels like most of these are going their way. And then they'll usually get the second as well. There was a consistency to them getting these first pick and then the second pick and being like, okay, this is the Liquid shit. All right.
And then
things went wrong. And that is the worst feeling. That is the worst sort of situation here. That 7-3, you know, whether W7M should have won or not, should be closer.
Felt like as well Herds, you know, 6-8, 1-4 on the first kill department, low cost. You know, there's another level somehow to W7M when you can think about maybe Herds having a probably more conventional game. KZ was great, Philippox as well, so decent team effort. They didn't have anyone that went like supernova, if you will, especially considering it was a 7-3 victory. And it felt like, to me at least, W7M were for the most part in control. I always kind of felt like they were probably the team that was winning a lot of these fights. You could trust them a little bit more. Liquid looked okay on the defense when they did get there. I think it would have been a very different game had Liquid actually started on defense first half. It would have been the kind of game that maybe could have gone to OT. Liquid could have got a couple more rounds. Evidently, though, they were in a 5-1 deficit. That's a deep hole. Even if it is defend decided and they obviously get their chance on it, it means you can't put a foot wrong. Otherwise, match point, as we saw at 3-5, then 3-6, then it's like, oh my god, 3 match points we're going to deal with, and evidently couldn't.
Yeah, and it's always that question of when is a deficit too hard to pass. Well, I guess we'll see if the deficit of being 1 map down is one of those. As the confirmation as well, with that 1 point guarantee, W7M have I don't think there was ever any doubt. No, none at all. No, none. Literally no doubt. I mean, let's be honest. W7M, if they don't make... It's the weirdest thing to say. If they're not in the final, you'll feel like after the year they've had, they have somewhere underperformed. And I don't just mean that in like... Because they'll play they'll play the toughest possible opponents. But they've just been so good.
Yeah, but have they played Team Bliss yet?
No.
I can't even continue on with that joke. I'm sorry.
Could they do it on a rainy Thursday?
In a rainy Wednesday at Stoke?
Yeah, could they do it then? Probably. Yeah. Probably.
I think I agree with you. Obviously, it's really difficult to say for a team, oh, if you don't make finals, like this tournament's a failure.
Exactly.
Maybe if they're like, I don't know, the semifinals, like if they make top 4, it's probably still fine and clearly a team that's been able to do so much throughout the calendar year. But obviously, it just goes to show, at least always at these events, 1 or 2 teams are going to have those super high expectations. They have got one. Maybe the likes of G2 could have the other. As we head to Consulate, 75% of you guys at home have actually thought that W7M will make this a swift 2-0. And look, saw enough maybe on Clubhouse to suggest that could be the case. As we do head to Consulate, though, it is actually one of the more attacker-sided maps that we've got at the tournament thus far. I think it's maybe number 1, but that still is not even above 50%. It's still technically favoring the defense.
We're just in that old meta again. Remember Shield meta?
Yeah.
The 90 seconds left meta. With
90 seconds left middle.
Yeah, true. 30 seconds, 20 seconds
Then down
left.
to 20.
20 seconds, still taking Pixel with 3 grenades to butt. Yeah, I remember that. Legion ban is an interesting one. I think that could be the first Legion ban this tournament.
Nah, surely not. There's been enough games played. We're on to day 4 now.
Yeah, but I think the thing is, so many defenders you need to ban.
There is. And is Legion one of the God Squad? Absolutely not.
No, it's like A tier.
It's a strange one, and I agree with you because I think when you think about like why you would ban Legion, why would you ban a Legion, right? It's probably more of an annoyance factor. Like I don't want to have to deal with those goo mines. The obviously defense can get a bit of information, but it means like what are you leaving up? Were you leaving up the Fenrir? You're leaving up the Valkyrie on a map like Consulate. It's still really strong, even after the fact that you can't throw the Valk cams outside of the building. Still, even now, it's part of that kind of considered tier of God Squad, but. Yeah, it's an interesting one. The dot could be on the Grim, though. Definitely no, and obviously the Azami as well. Definitely no issues with those. We've actually started to see Grim get a couple of bans throughout the tournament.
This is a conversation I can't remember who I had with on cast the other day. I love that in about a 12-month period, Grim has gone from a hilarity to a legitimate ban.
You know, you want even something that's funnier? Is like 12 months ago, probably not 12 months, maybe 10 or 8 months ago, I was bugging Guz. I'm like, Grim's going to be meta. Like meta. He could not hack. He's like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. And evidently, Grim has become pretty decent. Like, it's good. You can dislodge position. You can get information. Look, he's not to the level of some of those defensive operators. He's not that impressive. You certainly don't need to ban him out that often. Yeah. But he is a relevant operator.
Yeah, you have to take him out of certain teams because they're very good with him. This is another sort of irony about this. The first time I remember casting Grim, and it was so funny to see Grim to be like, yeah, bees. It was KZ that was like, I'm going to play Grim. Didn't even use the bees on their push, just played it for the gun and the pace. And then now they're having it banned against them. And that was the era of W7M where you had KZ was so good, he was like, I will play any operator and usually make it work. 2 minutes have gone.
To recap, not much has happened. Main breach towards Balk's opened up. Admin side push here from Liquid. Clearly want to try and get their way in towards meeting. Resets will take the first little fight over towards Coffee. And obviously you can see from the gas babes towards the Montang, it's just all about being oppressive here from W7M defensively, trying to deny position. The hallway position still kind of under lock and key. Obviously a little bit of pressure outside that balcony. Legonis is just really the one that needs to eventually make that entry. Nice shot from Resets though onto hers. Again, he did struggle a little bit on the opening map, but I don't think that's the start either here on Consulate.
Oh, Lewis the Buck gets underneath and starts trying to open things as Volps gets pushed out of the single breach onto the outside balcony. Nade is holding firm with 30 seconds. They're going to start just popping some of the control around them and outside the back of them. What are you signaling for here with 20 seconds left? Because
Well,
I'm searching for the kit.
The kit's on the Montang, so you don't have to look too far. Lagonis will eventually try and get that one in. And with 15 seconds, well, eventually it has to happen basically now. They start to make their way in towards site. I think w7m set up pretty nicely, but Palu, he's able to just get a nice double. Good little run and gun moment there from Philippox.
They take it. Neska's picked the kit back up. All the cover's coming here from Palu, and if there's anyone that can do it, it's him. But unfortunately, not even his supernatural power can watch multiple sides at once. W7m do just enough.
So obviously I was doing a little, not so much a signal, but I was looking and I was like, there wasn't much main breach pressure in that last stage of the round. So that meant that for the moment that Liquid had to push through that doorway in towards meeting, they didn't really have much on-site pressure. It really was just kind of hope the Montang kind of survives, gets towards bomb chassis and get plant down. And that didn't obviously end up working. W7m had good plays towards long desk. They were able to then overload the site at the last second, deny the plant, easy round. Ultimately, though, that was a lot of time that Liquid had to obviously deal with like pressure that was thrown at them. I mean, Philippox at one point was like throwing F-not mines at the at the Montang. They had gas babes thrown at the Montang. And, like, it was just sort of like he really wanted to get in there. The big moment for me was Volps dying on the balcony bridge.
Yeah,
as soon as he dies there, they lose a lot of pressure in towards site, and W7m were a little bit more comfortable. Now we go down to Garage and Cafe.
Especially as you sort of look at how late it was for anyone to put pressure towards the top of yellow as well. KZ was free to sort of at about the 30-second mark pop one of his Goyo canisters and go, right, I'll go help and stop this kit going down, which gives the wiggle room for the shotgun player to sort of do that running drive-by against the Monty and get the take there. I mean, it's always those sort of moments there where they're trying to make sure that they're as cemented as possible before they go for the plant. We go down to the basement here, and you'll generally have a bit of a top hold in that there is only one player on the site as of this moment. The rest are stretched over the top 2 stories, leaving just a Maestro to hang around and hope and nothing too quick comes.
And very quickly, while there's still an inch of irrelevance, as we do actually see Next get a nice little kill onto Hertz, again caught off guard, and as we lose a bit of that relevance, my point I wanted to make very quickly was on that last side, the fact that W7m really gave them that admin control, didn't try and contest it all that much, gave up hallway, eventually played back a site towards long desk, had an earlier game today on Consulate, NIP, GK, and those two teams like really lacked the ability to win that particular site. They just struggled, and both of them eventually moved away because they kept trying to contest admin, and then they kept trying to like play off of side a little bit out towards the hallway, and that just gave the offense like so many ways to actually get involved. The other way, in the second round, Liquid again with an opening kill, as has kind of now been a trend in the series. Back on Club now to start, also on Consulate, they get these opening picks, but they just don't know how to actually convert them into round wins.
It's the statistic that we saw and went, hey, they did this quite well last time, a statistic that still led to them being pushed aside on Club. The time just keeps on ticking. They cannot seem to find, as you said, the momentum and the confidence to start trying to move behind the objective. It becomes that old style of Siege of set up everything perfect and then perfect the round itself. Here, unfortunately, the only thing is a bit of a misspelling towards the word error the take. Volps just drifting on by, trusting there isn't a player in that position.
Big kill, though, as well, and the Ram likes to get in towards Expo, open things up, the Boogie Auto Breacher, so I think a little moment there for W7m, where not necessarily a full win condition for Liquid is taken off the board, but certainly a big factor in sort of what they want to do. Double hard breach left with the Nomad doesn't really give them a super amount of firepower, but they got so many flashes still available, to be exact 8 flashes between the 3 players for Liquid. So in terms of being able to take these positions, not sure about Parley, what he's doing there. JV gets a nice free kill for W7m, and they get now a 3 versus 2 advantage for W7m. Back to site they go. No real control here at all for Liquid. They're just running around like chickens with their head cut off.
Well, now they have had their head cut off. Oh, look at that.
He's like, what was that? I was like that. That was probably a good picture of me at that moment. I was like, what? Arms out.
2 rounds in a row. 2 rounds in a row here for W7m, and you worry the more that this deficit gets wider and wider and wider here on Liquid's map, regardless of the fact that whether it's a side or not, the more you're sort of thinking, oh, it's an 8-3. Oh, it's a 9-3. And there should be more football celebrations in.
You reckon? Like, if you get the final kill that wins the round, you should be able to like take your headset off, run around and be like, Sue!
We watched the Super Bowl the other day, and after every single play, people celebrated.
Someone's doing a celebration.
And showboat.
They didn't even have to score.
Sitting here, as Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, or whatever his name is.
Am I Travis Kelce?
Yeah.
That's a pretty apt
think
comparison. I actually like that. Yeah.
Get that on the lower thirds production.
Yeah. Change the handles.
Change the handles. You see what is, in effect, just that sort of energy, right?
Yeah.
And I guess that comes from like fist bumping.
I'll take my glasses off when we come back, because then it really will sell it. Because Travis Kelce doesn't wear the glasses.
No, he doesn't. I mean, there's some slight differences between you and me.
No, that's just the glasses.
Just little ones. Just the glasses.
Yeah, just the glasses.
Just the glasses and the voice. And then otherwise, it's. I mean, it's like they're here in the room with us.
They are them.
Before I get my private jet back towards just the green room 20 feet away. 2 rounds in a row for W7M.
Yes. And unfortunately, those 2 rounds have probably been, again, highlights to what we saw in Clubhouse, where there's been an okay moment here or there for Liquid, but okay is not good enough.
No.
We like winners.
Okay leads you to KO. We like winners here. I'm doing the Wolf of Wall Street fist bump. You guys can't see that. The camera adds so much to that bit.
So much
Breakthrough
goal for
for
Leapox.
Leapox. Had so many bullets to a single player, but now they're fighting inside the site. Palu has stepped in on the role of the ace, but with a shotgun swing from a Solus and a single swing from Nade, Palu is doing everything he can in the powers of the powerful Palu man to try and keep some handle onto this hold.
Well, 2 things. They got sight. The other thing is there's still a minute 40. The other thing is a double red ping. So there's nothing that they can really do. You can't plant because you haven't got any vert. So resets now in a 1 versus 3. Like, Liquid's had site control for like the last 30 seconds, but again, on the way servers and towers work, you kind of somehow need to get control of both. It's really difficult. So it's like they've got 2 players inside a server. You can't really plant because of hatch, because they don't have vert. There's nothing you can really do in that moment, especially when you don't have the numbers to overload said positions. That was a bit of a nothing round simply because Liquid went too fast on a site where you probably want to go more conventionally slow.
I mean, the bullet hole swing, the Solus going for the shotgun, that is filth. But it's just 9 to 3, 10 to 3. It becomes worse and worse and worse in a series like this, where every round matters so much. It matters so.
I'm sorry, should I talk like this? Every single round matters so much. Hello.
Can you do that for the rest of this cast or not?
For the whole cast,
Yeah, the whole cast. Probably not.
I would probably get so many complaints. You would be like, this is the worst thing I've ever listened to.
Oh, no, I would never.
Hazy, Herds, Philly Pox. I went to private school.
Okay, you know what? I don't even want a round of it.
I'm Australian.
Oh, jeez.
Hello, I'm Australian.
This is about as bad as Liquid's playing right now.
Oh, no.
Not gonna lie, when I saw this matchup, initially my initial impression, and this was at the beginning of groups, right? None of the games had been played yet. I was like, hell yeah, this is gonna be sick. This
I
is
was
gonna be
so
awesome.
excited for this
Like
game.
I'm pretty certain I got to cover W7M Liquid back in Copenhagen with Guz, and it was like back then Liquid were clearly a little bit better than the way they've been playing at this tournament.
It went to an 8-7.
It did, and it was a lot of fun. And then when I got to see, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to do Liquid and W7M again. Well, unfortunately, so far it's like 10 to 3 in terms of the 2 maps that have been played. Liquid haven't really shown us enough that they can overpower W7M. Like, they've had some good moments, they've had okay moments, but for the most part, W7M have been virtually in control of this series without really any kind of threat from Team Liquid.
Towards the top, they're going to see if they can try and force out some of this console play. We said it before, fully in control of admin, but only really because W7M let them, and then they spent the remaining 2 minutes, 30 seconds just trying to get their foot in the door, playing against the smoke canisters, the pops of the Goyo canisters as well. It just led to a little bit of unfortunate disaster here. Some attention towards the top of yellow, some attention towards the top of spiral. They've opted for a little bit more width and wiggle room in terms of, well, with this going wrong, we can try and take this fight, we can try and do this. However, Liquid isn't handing them an engagement, or W7M isn't handing them an engagement as of yet. There's nothing that is coming to them easily. So Liquid still needs to try and find the tip of the spear to start thrusting at the CEO tape.
Yeah, and again, nothing really on the admin side. So you've got the Wamira of JV kind of just running around, not really doing a whole lot. Bit of focus towards yellow stairs with Desk, and that's also where the kit is located. Minute 20 on the clock, Nade top floor. Good pressure on site from w7m still, and again, really nothing admin does mean in the late round. Don't be surprised if JV gets like a double kill coming in late in towards site, because no one's going to put pressure on him over towards service stairs. This is heavy influence over towards yellow stairs from Liquid, but is that going to be enough? Still on the roof, like towards Skylight, and then double stacking yellow. I mean, there's not really much to this attack from Liquid right now.
Yeah, and against those smokes, the Thinker's not really going to be able to do much. They got to try and just take a bit of a risk here, but you're up against Felipox with the English shotgun. He's wasted as much time. JV wastes Palu.
Flash him.
With another, there's the pop of the shotgun. There's two!
You have flashes. Like, I mean, in that moment, you have flashes. It's a 1v4. This is not the 14,605 universe either in
Manic's
that moment for the Laconis.
Manic's going to be furious.
I'm starting to understand why Parker was Parker yesterday. In some moments, I kind of want to also emulate that.
You know,
in this little instance, you're pushing top yellow, like 3 or 4 stacking, 1 Skylight. You've got a bunch of flashes. No one uses any to try and flush out that position, close angle on the shotgun, and then swing. Instead, it's double dry swing, where at that point, the shotgun's going to be the favorite personnel to win that battle, as it did, as we saw it. Timeout from Liquid. One clearly needed, because it's a 4-0 start. And again, remember, Consulate, if there's any map, it's this map for attack. This is not Clubhouse.
JV92 hasn't died, 7 kills as of this moment in time. Do you remember when it used to be KAD rather than KDA?
Was that like the old scoreboard system? I think it might have been.
The old
yeah,
system was kills, assists, deaths, which on paper makes sense, but you look at it and then...
It's always been, it's either KDA or there's KAD.
Yeah.
We all think of KDA.
We just swapped for the fun of it.
Just like chaos. Let's just swap these two around. Sometime in the future, they're going to be like, let's do assists. Because
Plants,
assists matter more.
Ping.
Deaths and then kills.
Deaths and then kills. And then TMAs of Pyro will be at his best, statistically, with plants near the front.
Look at that result there as well in terms of the facial expressions from w7m and the lackadaisical nature in their celebration. It was like, that's a nothing kind of round. Why? There's no pressure admin side, no pressure server stairs, no pressure on the balcony main breach. It's like a triple stack yellow stairs, couple in the Skylight. It's so just basic attack from Liquid that against a team like w7m, it'll never work. They had the smoke as well to just delay. You still got F-Not mines you got to deal with. I mean, maybe against some like APAC teams that could work because you've just got the sheer like gun ability to push your way through eventually, but not against w7m.
I was just trying to think there. I see the Thorn. Haven't seen Thorn a huge amount. They are still meta. There's well, specific points, I think. Very specific places. I do love their play against all the little hopping
Thorn's got a really good gun.
Great gun.
Razor Blooms are okay.
Yeah, you won't get a kill with a Razor Bloom, but you'll get intel, which there's better operators at the minute to get intel from the sort of read-through. But I was thinking, what operators haven't we seen yet? There is.
I've seen Carly.
There's still like 2, I think. Or 1.
I don't actually know.
Attack's fresh again.
well, right now, Liquid's bringing in the Glaz. We've seen a little bit of Glaz so far at SI24. Typically can be coupled with, say, the Sens and the ROUs. In this instance, though, you've got a couple of smokes being brought. In fact, 6 smokes available because they've got the Twitch, they've got the Thermite, and obviously the Glaz will bring 2 of their own in terms of Volps. This is an opportunity maybe for Liquid to go deep into the strat book and think, what can we do here in just being able to clear above? Let's create some long angles. Let's get the Glaz involved. Get a couple of smokes going. There's no Warden on the board either in response. But they lose Lagonis. The Thermite's gone. That's the only hard breach. There's some smokes. And Nesk is also eliminated. And this is suddenly turning from bad to worse for Liquid. Resets at least top spiral. Does get a kill onto JV92. That's his first death. I think you jinxed him. You cursed him. He's now dead. 90 seconds left in the round in the 3 versus 3.
I'm so sorry, but to be honest, Liquid need all the help supernatural. Otherwise, they can get right now. We've got to see if they can try and get the drive here onto KZ. He hits a drone. And he somehow hits the first. Oh, he's fighting a Glaz with a dance on a door. He's making his way out of town. Volp, see you later, son.
Wrap it up. Wrap it up. This is hang on. Palu. Suddenly, 60 seconds left in the 1 versus 2. Must-win territory here for Liquid. A lot to be done. Doesn't have the kit. It's a long way from home. Kit's not close by. In fact, kills is basically what he will need to win this round for Team Liquid. May know the whereabouts of 1. Certainly now knows the whereabouts of 2.
Going for the flash and the drive. There's no real time to rotate
Smoke.
the smoke even. He's going for a bit of cover. He knows,
You know he's
the
here. You know
first
he's here.
fight. He cannot get it. A glass. A glass was killed by a dig tap as they dropped through a hatch.
What do we call that? Fade away.
I mean, what a morale
Well,
breaker.
we'll get to watch it back again here. In terms of morale breaker, well, this whole series of morale breaker. Look at a little spin there as well. They got most of the damage there. So Casey actually knows this, that he's got him towards like that body shot territory. Bang, one shot as he falls. In slow motion,
You gotta,
it's
like-
poetry.
Wait, social team. Throw some dubstep over that. Add some like slow-mo, some zooming
Like a
back
build-up and
and
then
forth.
Throw out
And
some banging music.
There's a video. There is a video that's an edit of Tim, Ace of Pirate, on his stream, ranting about Siege, that then goes into a highlight clip with the that song. I'm not gonna sing for copyright reasons. Please, social teams, I will send you the tweet. Recreate that with that clip because I think that would be, it would bang.
It would.
It would bang.
Like Ricky Martin.
He bangs. He bangs.
5-0 final round of the half. W7M are really putting the foot to the pedal. 6-0 on the cards if Liquid cannot find an open attacking round. They've got nothing so far on Consulate. It's been a largely disappointing affair for a map that they've picked, a map that attacking into hasn't been all that difficult for teams at this tournament. Clearly for Liquid though, attack has been a nightmare that they have to continue to relive. Because they've obviously been in this situation before with W7M have, given them the old heave-ho.
It's
Copenhagen.
It's so rough, and it's a tough pill here for Liquid to swallow. Because as I said at the time, the more and more these rounds slip away, the harder and harder it gets to pull yourself back in. Because you are looking at the grand scheme of things. And W7M, opposite end of it. The confidence is higher than it's ever been. The plays are dropping a deke through a hatch and hitting shots, and they'll adventure a little bit more. They'll risk a little bit more.
Guz has just come from the other stream, by the way, and I think he's probably anticipated this to be like a 6-6 overtime score, and he looks at it, and it's 5-0. And he's like, why are they yelling?
5-0, map 2.
And the first map was 7-3.
And the first map was 7-3. Liquid, if they don't win this, they obviously have one sort of more opportunity to get points on the board.
Did not know. JV had no idea that resets had lurked up yellow. Nice start again for Liquid, but at this point, I just don't trust them. I'm sorry, Hemi, but I don't. Too many opening kills that they've had throughout the series, let alone the map, that they just cannot convert into round wins. So despite getting that opening kill, I would still say W7M should feel confident, but Felipox gets greedy. Did not need to swing that window. Suddenly, from 1 kill to 2, but Nate does get a kill onto Palu. 4 versus 3, 60 seconds. KZ, has he got another fadeaway in him? Not too bad, not too shabby. Damage onto both Reset and Nest. The impact is nice. They're all so low, and they do fall. Trade 1-for-1. Herds on the Thorn gets involved as well. It's only 1 versus 2.
Nesk from Liquid getting the first body, the first lead in here. Nose can't get the player up. Nose, they can't get the players down. 6.
They're not even celebrating anymore.
6-0. They feel bad.
They look like they're losing.
I feel bad.
Like, it's 6-0.
It's rough.
Liquid, what is going on? They're not going to get a single map from this game, from this series, I should say, which is going to leave them, I believe, what, 4 points?
4 points.
So that's bottom outside of M80. M80 play after this, by the way, immediately after this against Bleed. If M80 beat Bleed, then the match tomorrow between M80 and Liquid, the loser is out of the tournament.
Yeah. Yes.
But Bleed's going to beat M80.
Bleed could be M80, but no, it's not even that. It's if Bleed beat M80 and M80 are on 0.
Well,
and
I
then,
guess...
And then M80 beat Liquid.
Well, it depends on tiebreakers.
No, yeah, well, I think the first tiebreaker is head-to-head. So M80, if they beat Liquid tomorrow,
so basically
2-0.
Yeah, the Bleed M80 game is not like super influential.
You want if Bleed win 2-0, they get confirmed.
Yeah, obviously.
if M80, if people at home want the most intense storyline for the game tomorrow, what needs to happen, I think, is Bleed need to 2-0 M80, so they're on 0 points, and then Liquid are on 4 points, because...
That would mean, though, M80 would have to 2-0 Liquid.
Yeah.
So if M80 want to be able to beat Liquid 2-1
That's
and
the most
advance,
dramatic M80
they would have
storyline.
to get something from Bleed today.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad we got there in the end. We're not covering the game anyway.
We can do math.
So that, whoever's going to cover that game can
Maths is
do the maths.
alright.
6-0 here, though, unfortunately, for those
Easy
maybe
maths.
having only just tuned in very briefly. W7m won convincingly on Clubhouse 7-3 and are, well, doing even more convincing on console at 6-0. I think Liquid have checked out. I think W7m are a little bit bored as well. They're not even celebrating. No screams, no passion.
They're thinking about what's for dinner at this point.
I think they're very happy because it's, well, I mean, dinner's going to be early for them. This has been a speed run.
It's horrifying that it
proportions.
is, because you want it to be a showdown, because you know it can be. It has been this year. And yet, here at this tournament, we keep getting these surprise showings of teams coming all in or being knocked right out.
Yeah,
With
it doesn't
Gonus,
matter. First kill at this point doesn't matter.
First kill gets rid of Herds. It's, yeah, statistically sort of the opposite of the drive of how rounds have gone. W7M, they just seem to like a sacrificial lamb for success.
They like to make it harder on themselves. Like.
Yeah, Herds, this time you die, and then...
I will say, though, they're on attack, so it's a little different. Like,
It is.
If you're on defense and it's a 4v5, yeah, whatever. But attack, it's a little bit more annoying. Still got to deal with these Capcans. Open up the breach in towards break. That's done pretty successfully. Minute 20, not a lot of time here on an admin side push. I won't lie, Liquid should probably be winning this round, especially with Ness getting a freebie down to Nade. Not sure where he went. Clearly didn't drone out break, and so therefore you get punished if you do not go through the checklist in a hard time. Fleetbox, nice shot onto Lagonis, but they are continuing to lose players with Palu finding the kill onto KZ. Elsewhere, there goes the Flores. 4 versus 2, 60 seconds left. I don't think we're going to get our 7-0. We'll see whether or not that does happen. A Candela thrown out from Fleetbox. To no avail, unless you pick the doorway and you give him a 1v1. And another one through JV. You can't be losing these games, Liquid. Like, come on now. That's better from Resets. Resets and Palu versus JV92.
Don't let this happen right now. JV92 is a
I'm going to walk off the set if W7M win this round.
world-class player, but so are Palu and Resets. They know what they can do. They just need to take the breath and get this locked in. It's a game of many rounds, and it'll start with one at a time. And here, 20 seconds or 2 versus 1. They just have to keep their pace. JV has all the pressure to plant. The site has long sight lines, easy rotations. They know exactly where he is. The first dance round, the smoke canister. There's the catch, Palu. Cool hands, cool positioning. That's the first. Still need another 5.
Yeah, it's always difficult. Now, I've only ever got to cast one 6-0 comeback.
Right.
And that happened pretty early in my Siege time.
In the 80s?
Yeah, back in the maybe early 90s.
Okay.
So it's very rare. That's all I'm trying to say in terms of referencing that, right? It's not something that happens very often. I think we see a lot more like 5-1s, clearly 4-2s, but 6-0s into 6-6 does not happen all that often. Every now and then, sure, Blue Moon, it can happen.
It's possible.
It's only possible.
It's the beauty of this
Is
game.
Consulate the map, though, on defense where it's probably likely? Maybe not.
I think there's just too many factors up in the air. It's not that a team isn't capable of it, but there are certain sort of... You would reach a percentage of understanding of a map based on how long it's been released, how long people are working things out. There's a reason pocket strats and pocket plays are a known thing and a known quantity of our game versus, say, other FPS games. There are FPS titles.
What other FPS game?
Hello,
Skull and Bones.
Kitty Island Adventure 2.
I was Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah, you get crossbows in
Attackers are
that.
heading out to defuse the bomb.
Beyond Good and Evil. First one. The second one's still in development.
I'm not too sure.
Oh. You can take photos in it. I don't know, I don't remember. I just remember the trailer.
Does taking photos count as an FPS?
Yeah, you're shooting somebody. 6-1. And as we crack wise jovially, they set themselves up inside the piano room. The only song being played right now is a somber tune of let's hold on with everything we've got.
I will say the longer it goes on for Liquid, you go from 6-0 to 6-1 to 6-2, etc. If you can get to like 6-3, I mean, obviously the general consensus is usually take it one round at a time, but set like a little mini goal. Like, let's get to 6-3, and then we can kind of reevaluate. Because once you get to 6-3, then at least you've kind of done the world tour. You're on the defense. That's certainly a possibility. Don't just worry too much about the fact that you've got to go 6 rounds. So keep that in mind in terms of the mental game for Liquid. Heads over towards yellow stairs. He's made his way down. And he can just watch over towards said hallway.
Curious about this positioning. Obviously, this is a top-heavy hold. If you're wondering why all the outlines are on the second story, it's all soft. Nesk gets the first, gets rid of the Nomad. You wonder if all the air jabs are in position in place. Obviously, not the one that stopped you being killed. Nomad, the flash over the top, and Resets wanted to hope they're a lot closer, but the player that was actually had already rotated their way away. Herds has gone for a bit of a hunt round on the back Zulu and the back end corridor. Lagonis might meet them at some point, depending on how aware they are of the play onto Spiral. You cannot really safely plant because of all those angles that have been opened up on the top floor. If you're familiar with how New Console plays, remember Old Lobby, where you would hold above it and have the direct line of sight towards the double door, shoot out the Candela. Can you get the player as well? As more players start to fall, suddenly W7M only have 2 players remaining. Parlu is the one that's just tucking bullets into the corner of KZ. There's a player around the back and a flawless from Liquid.
Yeah, a little golf clap there because they get a flawless round, nice and clean. Couple more fist bumps. You get through to 6-2. And again, it's all about setting that kind of like mini goal, if you will. Get to 6-3 and suddenly, hey, that's not so bad. Look, we've already won 3 rounds. We can do that again. That's a long way back. The issue is, of course, along this entire journey, you can't make any mistakes at all. You cannot slip up even one little bit. Play like that, though, and I mean, this is every possibility of being able to happen. I mean, this is the thing. Liquid are good enough. The issue for me is more so their opponent is even better. Like, if it was like Liquid versus, I don't know, D+ Kia, I'd be sitting here basically saying this is more than possible. My concern is the fact that W7M, at some point, someone from W7M will probably do something where they get like a double kill and then just open up sight. Service and Teller, I mean, this is an interesting decision here for Liquid to go to this particular site, but I don't mind it because from an attacking point of view, you kind of do need to get control of both, possibly, depending on where you can get that plant down. I'll be curious to see in terms of what they're also bringing. They don't bring, say, like a pulse, which can be really good on this site.
Now, obviously, every single round is important. There's no 2 ways about it. But this one means that they have cemented themselves with 3 viable sites they can defend.
Yep.
This one makes the impossible dream the impossible dream.
It's like crossing the threshold.
Yes.
From what feels like impossible to possible. And I wouldn't be surprised if W7M call a tactical timeout if they lose this round. And then
100%.
suddenly the tune really does change. You know, from 6-0 and the dominance that we saw from W7M and feeling like, okay, I'm ready to go. Take the headset off. This one's over. To now 6-2. Interesting round. Can they continue this little march? And the longer they can do it, the more shaky W7M could get.
The breakthrough onto the basement here. Now, obviously, that's not the site. They're just trying to get themselves through onto the open walls. They can try and put some pressure up underneath and force any player that might be on the stairs for the swing. That's why it's so reinforced, because, well, you cannot have these positions given to the permission of the players. Resets is the man to try two-man mark, with Nesk watching down from the hatch, and they just didn't give it enough respect, but they're lucky to survive. Oh, they don't quite win out. The following fight, though, Resets held on, and maybe the difference was the sliver of health and the bite that Nesk took out the player on the approach. But in the meantime, the Monty has just muscled his way in from the opposite side.
Yeah, it could be really interesting now because of the fact that Resets was able to get back with his life. So at some point now, obviously, he can kind of just station up, hold an angle. That's an extra gun available for Liquid over towards server. Very horizontal push here, and there he is actually to now go for the close swing against KZ. Resets 2 massive kills in this round. Bobsat suddenly just drops to the floor, makes it a 2 versus 3.
Yeah, Nade was able to sort of drop the shield and go for the pops and play, but obviously they'll just be giving the calls on the position. They're not even sure where they went down for lead box, and I mean, in this situation when they're just peppering bullets, it's only a slaughter. Palu, well, that's who put you down with the swing. Resets with the upward support as well. There's 3, there's the halfway, there's the dream. The dream The impossible dream.
Yeah, so what is now the issue here for W7M? Where's it going wrong in terms of their attacking rounds? This is where we kind of go back into that very serious mode, because we're getting to a point here where I think Liquid is doing enough, and they're doing it enough comfortably. Like, these aren't scrappy rounds.
No.
This is not like W7M are getting plants, and there's retakes, and there's 1v1 clutches. Like, these are pretty dominant. The round prior was a flawless. That round there, I thought Liquid were very good. They sought out that early contact towards garage side. Resets, gets the opening kill, runs back towards site, and then repeaks again for a second, really influential, and breaks up the attack there from W7M. So they need to really kind of think things over, and I'm a little surprised they haven't opted to take a tactical timeout here just to reset mentally. They've seen 3 rounds, they've seen 3 different sides. There's another 3 rounds to come. Think about what can we do to just finish this off and just squash Liquid like an annoying bug.
The thing about how Liquid is playing, you sort of said it before, their attack success rate, poor.
But 70% defense.
Just 70% defense. I mean, this game could end up being 100% one side and 0% the other at this rate.
There's no attacking round wins on the most attacker-sided map at the tournament.
And I, at one point, was thinking, oh, you know, Liquid, this one's gone. Like, I think all of us were. At 6-0, just because of the energy Liquid were playing with and how smooth and confident W7M were, here's the heat that's coming in from Liquid, and now you're sort of looking at that number coming together. You're looking at that 70% becoming 80%, becoming 90%, becoming closer and closer. Hurd, once again, the Ash getting in quite quick, trying to find a fight on the back end of it. Good bit of removal there of the Fear Mine, the F dot, as Resets is going to be the back end of it. That shield will survive. They're not quite able to get rid of that utility, and the smoke's just going to buy themselves some time. Time is a very, very precious resource.
And I did want to just reconfirm it, double check. It actually has gone up to 48% coming into this game. That'll clearly change, though, by the end of it.
I mean,
yeah, like 48% attacker win rate at the tournament so far. Again, kind of small sub-samples, but still, nevertheless, it is #1. And the fact that we've had no rounds, and a lot of these rounds haven't really been close either from the attacking teams, is quite intriguing.
For legal reasons, I'm just going to clarify, I'm not saying this is not like ranked, but this is statistically like ranked, where everything's on the defensive side.
My God.
Resets, rocks the world to the 2 players going for the swing at the top of yellow, confirms that control for them. At this point, Philippox has to rotate off because they've lost any of the support. JV92 is tucked and waiting for something else to come his way, but as they've demonstrated, there are many ways and many places to swing that position on the scaffolding, so you can't sit there too long. Here comes that support, as I said. Philippox with the blinds, about to roll around the corner. Palu gets one more, went before it popped.
Well, it didn't pop, yeah.
So they just swung into an entirely visible man. JV's just going to get executed in a bathroom, which is how nobody wishes to go.
Timeout, timeout, should be timeout. And as soon as I said the word, I got it in my ear. Yeah, tactical timeout has indeed been confirmed here for W7M. They've seen enough. 6-4, 4 in a row now for Liquid. We've obviously mentioned their defensive win rate. The issue, though, for me is the fact that it is indeed Liquid that are being aggressive. We saw it with Resets 2 rounds in a row now. He's the one seeking the contact. It is Resets that is like, on the defense, match points, I don't care. I'm still going to swing. I'm still going to just try and take contact here and be able to get at least a couple of kills before I go down. He's not even going down, though. He's just getting double kills. It's just free for Liquid right now. W7M's attack, they look slow, stalled out. They're not really clearing out key positions properly. I mean, making little mistakes, too, like the Candela bouncing off the wall, but swinging before it's even popped, and so you just get shot out anyway. These are just like little things that can be fixed. And maybe off the back of this tactical timeout, that could be the case. But you can see it here. Everyone watching along. No attacking rounds have been won right now on the most attacker-sided map of the tournament. I cannot believe this. When we got to 6-0 for W7M, all on defense, I took that seriously. Because there are moments where you go, okay, like let's say Clubhouse. It's like if it's 6-0 Clubhouse defense and Liquid are going to go defense, I'm not even writing the game off with the way the meta is right now. I'll be like, you know what? They could probably do the same thing. But on Consulate, that I was like, okay, that is a bit different though, where you can get attacking rounds. It's supposed to be a little bit more 50-50. We had NIP and GK earlier today, and this went to overtime on Consulate because it was 3-3 in both halves. They got plenty of attacking rounds. There was plenty of good attacking Siege. We have not seen that in this match, and that is where I'm very surprised and a little disappointed as well. And you got to think about, at this tournament, you can't get away with this against the top teams.
It's been a rough
But hey, they can both defend really well.
They can both defend really well. 100% success rate.
100%, man.
100% success rate on the defense. It's almost weird that there's these parallels between the two teams as well. You've got both Palu and JV92 sitting 11-5, 11-6. You've got, you know, Resets putting up the double numbers as well. Philippok's not too far away from it. It's that people are having these decent performances. It's only really Volps who's a little bit behind the pace, but then so is KZ. Compared to the things that KZ does, there is a mirrored reflection right in the middle of this at that halftime mark, at the 0-6 mark, and the just one more round mentality is absolutely flying for Liquid right now at this point. The breach happens on towards the emergency exit. They've got themselves a little bit of a route into the building, and they're obviously eyeing up towards the breach onto the site as well with that opening over the top. The settlement should take care of it. No one's trying to stop it.
My concern right now is probably more so Resets, because he's the one I think has been really unlocking these rounds for Liquid, getting a lot of these opening kills.
Yes.
And he's obviously trying to deny a lot of this drone play on the Solus, which means he's kind of got a secondary objective right now by playing said Solus. As aggressive as you can get on the operator, your main goal really is to deny the drones. Like, that's kind of what you want to do, which means he's going to sit over towards Breach and Garage.
Oh.
He's not around the map. Now it's up to Nesk. Nesk is playing that role, and he does it well with the kill on to JV92. Hertz, though, trying to just push his way in through server. Makes contact, but they've lost Nade. Hard Breach gone, still one more available. Hertz continues forward.
That's Resets getting once more, and again, these players are starting to fall apart. Again, it's happening right after a team's timeout. Nothing more demoralizing, but that was a great take. I couldn't even see what he was shooting at, and Resets gets removed by KZ, but with the control falling back into Nesk on the top floor, he's able to get himself even. KZ's left alone. I said he's been underperforming a little in comparison to the rest of the team throughout this game. Might have the moment to really send it home at this point, but a 1 versus 3 when you have 4 health total as well doesn't bode massively well. A minute is the time that they can play with. Volps has a C4. Outside of that, it's otherwise just the gun game, but generally all of them have pretty good selection.
Look at him go.
Staying as a unit, the Liquid floods its way around from 6-0 to 6-5.
Wow. Yeah, massive turnaround for Liquid, and this is such good news for them at this tournament. Oh, Volps is saying something. Obviously, I have no idea. Can't even hear it.
Can't hear it.
Certainly don't understand Portuguese either.
It was so powerful.
But that is
the camera
should
blurred.
you do that at 6-5 though?
Okay, there is history there though.
There
Volps.
is. There certainly is.
It's an ex-team. There was some history before. I'm going to paraphrase here. I'm sure there's some Portuguese aficionados.
Well, I should also say it's very unlikely they would have even heard him as well. But firstly, the in-ears and then the overs as well.
And then the overs. For those who don't know, the in-ears are what they use for the game audio. The overs actually just pump white noise, so you cannot hear anything else outside. Anyway, there was a situation at the local league where I believe there was some tweets about not shaking each other's hands after a game, because it's rough going up against your old team. Like you have history. They can be they're brothers. You grow up, you fight together, and then the roster changes as you get into success, and then it becomes the Pixar film, and then you find yourself with the story. And there's so much heat and heart into a game like this, especially when you are struggling. Like Volps has been throughout this series. If it helps him,
5 seconds left.
go for it. Give me the heat.
Yeah. So 5-6 now for Liquid. Can they make the magical 6-0 to 6-6 comeback a reality? Volps had 2 kills in that round prior, and he let w7m know all about it. EDD's placed here from Lagonas inside a coffee. w7m on the verge of making history here. I don't know how many 6-0s to 6-6s we've had. Certainly none at this tournament thus far. I'm going to assume, Emmy. I assume. It's a big assumption.
Big assumption.
But I'm pretty sure I haven't heard of any of that happening at this tournament. Big opportunity for Liquid. And again, in terms of what's on the line here for Liquid, you win this map from 6-0 down. That's great and all, but it's just about the fact you win the map and suddenly it changes everything about tomorrow in the M80.
Yeah.
You go to 5 maps. That really does not solidify you, but makes it far more likely that you will avoid any kind of disaster of getting grouped.
Getting yourself off of the pattern of 0s and 4s and wins and losses that are in a group can change everything. A single point. We've seen teams scrape by with single points and overtime maps, and Nesk is making sure that he starts the drive to it. Hazy gone first. They lose the Brava drones. I'm not sure how much it was able to steal, but when you're looking on the left and how much utility there is, the cams, obviously the VAC, the EDDs, the Kai Claws, it's everybody has things that can be taken apart from unless the character gets killed themselves. The Ram raids across with the Boogie drone that is more than happy to just make Reset's position uncomfortable. They look like they're trying to find maybe... Oh no, they're 2 stories down even. They're not finding a fight at all. I thought they were right underneath that.
Minute 20 seconds, trying to obviously get some pressure over towards Towers from above in terms of vert there for W7M. That's been their goal so far. The Jackal of Herds is out of the scanners. Obviously just trying to see if we can spot any footprints, but can't track them anymore. Over towards service stairs here for Felipox. Bulb's just sitting and waiting. Of course, there are EDDs here from the side of Lagonas. The Solus hasn't been too effective. Only the 4 drones gone this game, considering there's still under a minute remaining. Smokes go out. Is this drop time? Smokes coming from Herds. Not a lot of information. Trying to find that kit. Trying to find that plant here. Nade's just going to get it down. This should get denied, considering the information that Bulbs has. Yes, indeed. Bang! Double from Lagonas. That's the power that you can get from the Solus. And the 6-0 to 6-6 comeback is a reality for Liquid. Cannot believe it's happened, and W7M certainly cannot believe it either. Down to just JV92 in the 1 versus 4. But no, this comeback has happened, and W7M cannot believe it.
Can you?
To be completely honest, no. And again, the circumstances are more so pertaining to the
More
map
shouting, more blur.
and to the opposition. The map and the opposition. A bit of typing in chat as well here from Reset. Again, if it's like Clubhouse, defense, sure. Would have 100% thought this would be a reality. But it's Consulate. You need to just 1 attacking round on Consulate.
Just 1?
How does that not happen?
Why'd you make it sound so hard?
Well, it shouldn't be.
100%
Many bombs as they can.
defensive win rate on a new map, and between 2 teams that know each other as well as these 2 teams do.
The thing for me as well, right, when you go and have a look at the statistical probability of a 6-0 comeback, it's like, you can be good, but all it takes is like 1 attacking
One
player.
mistake.
And it's like, oh, I walked in, got a double kill, guys. That's it. Like, I just got lucky this 1 round. We had 6 opportunities to maybe get a little bit lucky here or there. And just the fact that at no point W7M were able to get that luck or create that luck is probably the best way to actually paraphrase it, right? Like, and a lot of that credit goes to Liquid. They weren't making mistakes. They were denying a lot of entry points. They were getting a lot of early contact fights to go their way. They actually looked rather aggressive for a team that was 6-0 down, dealing with 6 match points. They didn't go into their shells. They played a really good game. They've got all the momentum, and guess what? They got double defense OT. This one's got... Based on the 12 rounds I've seen, we are going to a 3rd map. Statistically,
we're going to bank after this.
If W7M win the attacking round now, I'm just going to like blow steam out of my ears like a cartoon movie.
We get 100% attacker win right now. Liquid. They are going to hold off. The breach comes through pretty quick. 2 Thatcher charges rolled almost instantaneously there. Not sure if they intended to like truly secure that wall to be broken, but to be honest, it is not a huge amount. Remember, their last take was via admin straight into the Bandit of Lagonas and the hold of Nesk. They're not even going to try and risk that this time round. They've realized that they just get torn apart, so instead, let's pull elsewhere. Go towards Visa Stairs, see if we can maybe push up, get the breach open itself, secure some of the space, and do this. Oh. Fortunately, a little bit too late. I think Liquid sort of smelt the writing on the wall that, well, we're under no pressure in admin. We probably need to think about where they're pushing from.
Yeah, down below. And the drone does come out as well in terms of W7M trying to get this information. Such a pivotal round here. It's at the point where W7M probably don't want to win this round. Otherwise, it would be just, like, mentally draining. It's like, why could we not do that, like, over the last 6 rounds? So... 90 seconds left. Liquid looking for another defensive round. Looking for 7 defensive rounds in a row. Doesn't really happen all that often that you can say that.
Breaking their way via admin. They have the control, but everybody is still standing. They're happy to get the drones and the intel as Hertz is doing his best to remove any of that is otherwise in their way and in their face. Now, the plant is just inside the door at the sort of south side of a site. At the top of the stairs, you have a little bit of protection and a little bit of safety. What you need to stop is the wide swing that comes against them and the take from underneath, which is what Felipox is currently securing. However, if it turns into a 1 versus 1, it does become a bit of an easy bite back. It seems like Volt's curious about exactly this position you see right in front of Hertz, and this is what we're going to see. Battle of attrition just towards this single spot, this single plant chunk. Parlu He's the long-range fight. He's got the glasses that can see right through it.
Triple stack, but you got one Spiral, one on the balcony, so at least a little bit of that crossfire available for W7M. Certainly one of the better attacking positions that I've seen from them so far over the last 7 rounds. Good red ping information. KZ pushes in, gets that kill over towards that main breach. They can get this plant down. Smoke bomb hasn't quite hit.
There it is. There's the plant in that position. There's Philippox and Ness trading out. We have our first plant.
Woo!
This game, this swing, this fight, and Ness cannot quite get his way back in. Philippox gets the double. They've got some security inside the site itself. And here, 2 Liquid players have about 40 seconds to try and break their way across, but they're getting bitten, scraped from all sides. Round the back, Lagonis gets 1. But with the player under, there's Lagonis for a double, a 2 versus 2. However, it's a dangerous retake with the stairs position, with the range that they've got all the way across, and this player underneath. You still have to try and bait the fight. The spray connects only just, and Lagonis has to go hunting. He does not have enough time to get back up to the kit. We have our first attack round. Steam is billowing.
Are you kidding me? You couldn't do that in the last 6 rounds? I mean, so much better, though, from W7M. You give them the plaudits. Yeah, triple stack towards that main entrance point, but you had one Spiral coming in towards long distance. You had one on the main bridge, so they at least had options. That's why they were able to overload the site, clear out a couple of members of Liquid, get that plant down. Why? Because they've got players kind of looking in towards it, rather than all just trying to rush through the doorway. They had options elsewhere. Much better from W7M. Again, Liquid, the one thing they probably did wrong in that round and moved away from something that was successful for them in the regulation defense was aggression. Where was the kind of counter punch from, say, like resets, for example, in the shotgun close angles? Where were the vert plays or the flanks that we were seeing back in regulation? None of it. It was kind of just the sit back. Yeah, they got a bit pressured, and they just didn't really do much. And so W7M eventually just waltz in, get the plant down. It's a retake. Sure, it's a bit scrappy. But my goodness, the fact that we had to go 12 rounds in a row of only defensive wins, and then it's like, oh, overtime. Yeah, now let's get our attacking round now.
We're done.
This will be just full attack. Liquid's going to win this one, then W7M
the next.
we're
supposed to win these rounds.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Strange. Absolutely strange, but much better from W7M. Certainly their best attacking round and gets rewarded.
Anyone's best attacking round, really, at this point. You'll see Liquid. Can they try and match the fire with their own fervor here? Because pressure's back on, unfortunately for them. And this time it's on the side where they have been able to find kind of no impact across the whole day and impactless on this map as of this point. They have the mental sort of clarity of just how much they can get in, and I'm curious where Volps is going to try and get himself looped up. Break just on the outside. Volps is currently playing against the window position. Now in terms of hatches that lead in, well, that one's reinforced, so you can't quite hit the piano hatch itself. There is a couple of windows you can get a quick zip towards, but seems like they're still just weighing up where they can try and find this first bite, and Herds is keeping himself a little bit busy on the pulse down in the basement.
So drone yellow, drone visa, which does at least mean for Liquid that they are looking at a kind of full map take, and that they're not going to just ignore, say, Spiral, which is where Palu is now droning at the moment. So really utilizing that full roof control. JV somehow alive, barely on the Fenrir, which is really important, of course, with those F-Nauts and the fact he can still hold a position and angle. And now for resets, in they go towards that visa side. Herds down below on the pulse. Do like this. We haven't really probably seen enough pulse play. We've seen it a little bit, but ultimately we'll see if it does find some success now. W7M on the defense, who have not lost a single defensive round.
Neither had Liquid. The time keeps ticking, ever present and ever worrying here as we sort of sit and wait where the first motion move is going to come from. Usually it's been a bit of a problem here for the side of Liquid that they lose sight of a player and they're about to find a fight. There's a crossfire that instantly pops. Palu goes, but Ness instantly gets the bite, and Volps wins that one, which I believe was underneath the site itself. So suddenly, it's gone, the pulse is gone, they lose a bit of the Fenrir, and they've got about a minute. We've gone from nothing happening to a body advantage and finally some pressure down towards the site with some of the control underneath in their favor.
45 seconds remaining. Gas wave thrown out. Ness just holding the close angle. Still has 3 adrenal surges. Hasn't used any of them. Get them out. Get people up to full house. Swing some areas.
Give them a boost. This is the dangerous swing, though. They've gone against the shotgun on close corners and suffered, but they're sort of just sitting there for 20 seconds.
Please pop
Fleetbox.
it. Please pop it.
I mean, he slinks his way back around. They're looking for the fight. The Warriors, they don't want to get caught in the smoke canister or a Goyo and be burnt. But with 20 seconds left, you got to do something. There's Nesk somehow getting the swing there onto KZ as Lagonis spikes his way back around to 3 versus 2, but they've still got a plan of 2 versus 2. Lagonis and resets with the kit, fighting their way into the site against Felipox, who does go down the 2 versus 1 at this point, but 5 seconds, a 1 versus 1 with the cover. Nade, he's trying to scrap his way. We are going all of the way. I believe the statistic is you can only win attack rounds in overtime, but who gets the rule of the law in the final round?
Well, this is the funnest stat I've ever been able to present. Both teams had 100% success rates on defense in regulation. Both teams now have 0% win rates on defense in overtime. What in the hell am I watching?
It's like the map is going to normalize statistically, so it becomes like 70% attacker or 50% attacker, but only if the balance of overtime versus in-game.
Yeah, look, I mean, a bit of a strange round, that one. Super scrappy, probably not the same clinicalness that we saw from w7m on their attack. They now go back to attack as Liquid are fighting tooth and nail to get themselves a map here against their rivals in w7m. They're on the defense. I don't even know what to think of it anymore, Emmy. I got no idea. Is it regulation defense? Is it overtime defense? I got absolutely no idea who's going to win this round, and that is the beauty of it. That is the art of this map, of this game so far between these two teams. And to be completely honest, this is what I expected in this series. Not what happened on Clubhouse. Certainly not what happened through the first 6 rounds. But this moment right now, into the 15th round we go between Liquid and w7m. w7m looking for the swift 2-0. Liquid want to send us to bank.
It's almost like a dance-off, this map, where each time one team is allowed to show their moves and the other sits on the side and watches, and then
Repeat it.
And then the next steps up and does it and repeats it and plays against it, and you're just waiting for somebody to go, all right, enough of this, I win. The hold onto piano and a quick break and a bit of attention towards it. Now we have the quick zip in the pockets of JV92. Are they going to see if they can try and find the Amaru?
They could go fast here with the Ying and the Amaru, yeah.
That's what I'm thinking right now, because only Lagonis is on the side. And I said it before, it's a vertical watch and hold. But we have seen plays stolen before. It's a scrappy fight that Nade comes off a little bit worse for wear on, with Volt still watching, and he's going to be the important one to watch, as if the flashes and blinds come across it, his glass is a very important utility.
Here we go. Little lurk up towards yellow from JV. Not going for that fast push. Not going for that maybe fast entry in towards site, coupled with the Candelas. Felipox, speaking of said Candelas, throwing them in. Lagonis catches Nade. Does get traded though immediately. KZ just barely by the slimmest of margins in towards Piano, and said behind it now to get the plant down. If it's successful, they've got the repel. Denied though. Reset. Plant has not gone down. Liquid in control of the round. Palu gets the kill onto Felipox. Davey's going to get moving, but he moves too slow. It's like he's stuck in quicksand, and Liquid send us to bank. From 6-0 down, they win here on Consulate. It's a comeback victory of massive proportions.
0-6
What?
to 6-6 to attack wins. It says round breakdown there. It should say our breakdown. I am speechless, flabbergasted, Liquid. I have to get my chair back.
Emmy. My God. Well, look. Those first 6 rounds of W7, I just want to say, I can't even lean back because otherwise I look really short. Like tiny. Those first 6 rounds, I thought were very good. Very good from w7m. And we started to get into a bit of a jovial mood, because at that point, they looked so utterly dominant. They were going on to the attack of Consulate, which statistically has been good at this tournament. So we kind of felt like, yeah, at some point they'll get a round win, and this will be over 7-1, 7-2, whatever. But Liquid, to their credit, had the mental fortitude to never give up. And I mentioned kind of like after that first round when it's like, well, set that mini goal. Can you get to 6-3? Because if you can get to 6-3, you've done the world tour, and then it's all about, okay, we can do that. Look, we've won 3 rounds. We can do it again. They did it again. They got it to 6-6. And then the fact that w7m then get the overtime match point, and then I'm like, oh, all that was for nothing. For them to then win the next 2. What a sensational game.
We're going to go to a quick break before we're back with map 3, and hopefully, sanity. Easy.
Let's see how proficient Scars end up being here on the attack. IQ in play. Interesting decision, given the defensive composition here, I suppose, can help spot out those electro claws if required, and the Thatcher can follow up with you two. Early aggression from Lost, the run out. As those said, EMPs will come through. Simple wall dealt with by Tayo on the Thermite. Mindful of the jump out, of course, but that won't be committed to by Lost, who are probably still reeling after the last few rounds, not going
You
their
saw
way.
it on the face of Dats. He's like, just went all the way back over. He's like, I give up. I don't know what to do. It's just been absolutely styled on as the IQ just used there to get rid of the Electroclaw, of the Mew Jammer that was placed as well. It's going to be quite difficult now to actually get that control. So I actually like the pick of the IQ here, just taking care of those Mew Jammers, which can, of course, be such a pain, especially if you want to get your drone game on point and in-game. You know, there is still a bunch of them out there. 5 of them left for play for Scars. So as they start opening up vertically now as well with the Ash, trying to get that vertical pressure in the places it's needed.
So minute 25 then on the clock. As Washoy will continue this lurk down below, you can see the triangle with both the IQ and the Thatcher. They'll rotate off though, instead emphasizing their efforts now over towards the objective itself, and they need to do a job in displacing these defenders on site who, as we can see on the overhead, aren't really under a whole lot of direct pressure at the moment. That will come through though now as the Thermite will sneak forward. There is some information available here for the attack to lean into, and we'll see if Scars can connect the dots on this attack.
I think it's too one-directional. They're all just trying to push in from this one breach and maybe from the Samurai window. I don't think you're going to be able to stick that as the opening is coming through. You see Rack being taken out by Lobin there. The entry, the exothermic gets removed as well by the impact grenade. And there's 35 seconds left. You need to make a move, Scars. You cannot just continue waiting here as Pion starts bashing into the keeper barrier. He's going to be pulling away the attention of Maya, but it's all just going towards low. It's a flawless round to respond after how that round went previously.
Well, that was disappointing for the attack of Scars. It really did fall apart.
It's too one-dimensional.
I agree. Too one-dimensional, and I mean, sometimes that can kind of work, but you need to have direct pressure on the defense, and more importantly, even on top of all of that, information. They had nothing. Going in blind, breach not opened up after the back of the impact, and yeah, I agree with Lobin's hand gesture there. It's kind of like, what was that?
It's like, I think they needed some more verticality, like use a buck to open it below so that, you know, their places are a bit made uncomfortable. Or you would have needed like a Dokkaebi to go for calls, or you would have needed a Lion to be used for making sure that they wouldn't be moving as soon as you go for the execute. But instead, like, it was just focusing on opening up the 2 walls and then trying to go for a push in. They didn't even open up one of the walls properly. So it's a bit of a disappointment on that round there, but hey, it is going to be locked for the next 3, so there's opportunity for Scars to find some success on the others. On T, and what probably would be barbecue right afterwards. So let's see how far they can come over
5
there.
seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the attacking composition we saw from Scars. The IQ in hindsight was a little bit unnecessary. So we'll see a bit of a switch up here into round 8 for what has become a little bit more on meta for the most part. There's Zofia with explosives, can counter the keeper barriers, and then more importantly for the execute itself, we have that Ying Dokkaebi combo, which can be challenging to deal with. Wreck as well on the Nomad, so once Scars gain space, they can protect it and make it challenging for Lost to play a retake. The attack will be spearheaded through Geisha, but by the looks of things, Tayo makes his way over towards that breach, and it will be opened up, I believe, uncontested, unless there's a mute on it, which I don't think there is.
Different angle on it. They want to open it up a bit closer rather than as wide, just to provide some security for the people on the balcony, I reckon. What I'm worried about is potential frost mats, as we do have a frost on the board. Where has cameraman placed them? Now, there's 2 of them underneath that main window. You do not want to go for a jump it. I don't expect them to, considering they've just opened up the wall. And with the Candelas coming out, you kind of want to use the free room. Oh, that's actually quite smart with Lobin out there. C4 will come through, will blow up a little bit early, not deal enough damage as well. Shoy will be able to take down cameraman.
Cameraman, you could see coming out to the rest of the team that the pressure's coming their way. Scars on that initial push out on top, a 3 versus 2, and Maya forced to the back of T-Room. I think he spotted one in through Geisha, a slither of that silhouette. Swings for the second, and the shots do land, but Rek still standing. Tayo to go for the plant, and that coverage from Rek needs to be on point, but the sneaks through Geish. Too little too late in denying, but Tayo under a lot of pressure.
Shotguns are starting to come through as Maya will find Rek, and there comes a shotgun as well. You might have been able to get that plan down, but quickly denied by the side of Los, who now will be equalizing the score, get us up back towards a 4-4 scoreline. And now the tertiary side's coming in, and this one is the most important for Scars. If they manage to find success here, and again get that plan down, but this time confirm it, that's when they have the opportunity to push us at least towards an overtime, where they have the opportunity to lock it off in 3 maps, or 2 maps.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the tertiary and it starts to look pretty dire, I think, for Scars. I don't think that these attacks have inspired much confidence in us, and probably not the team as well. They are struggling at the moment to break down this defense. I don't know if they're perhaps a little bit too linear. I don't think focusing on Geish is too much of an issue there, but probably needed a pinch elsewhere. I think that came from Rek, but ultimately he was low on HP and had to play quite passive. Let's look at the replay package and try and break it down. At this point, 2 versus 3, so Scars with the advantage. Loban, though, to advance and made the right call to actually flank through Geisha. And despite that smoke grenade on the floor providing some coverage for the plant, ultimately not enough, and the synergy and the coordination in the 2 versus 1 there from Lost didn't go astray. So a good start to the half from them. Again,
yeah.
If you're just joining, perhaps from the B stream, Lost had some big coordination issues on their last couple of attacks, and we thought that maybe that would bleed here into the second half, but yeah, not to be so far.
I have to say though, Scars' attack in that last round looked quite well, but then I think they started focusing the plan too soon, because they had a 1-man, a 2-man advantage. If they would have slowed it down a little bit more and started locking on the re-entry angles of the defenders, they might have been able to get yet another kill in, because they were playing that trade game. They had a safer opportunity to actually go for a plant, to actually go for a play, because right now it was just 2 1v1s whilst the plant was going through, which eventually did not go right. But we do have barbecue. It is that floor right underneath karaoke. Verticality will be quite important here, and you see it as Scars is paying attention to it. They are fine. For a second there, I thought Yon was actually going to open up at the moment someone was walking by. I mean, he is looking there for a reason. He's just waiting for some noise, which he just had as that barricade went up. He's like, I think it just barricaded the door out there. It's going to be slowing them down slightly. C4 underneath. Going to be blowing up. Might have actually just... Oh, no, because it's on the other side of the reinforcement. So still going to have to use some soft breach to open that one up.
Yeah, that's Dash inside of Geisha, and his position will be exposed once the wall is worked here by the Maverick. As you can see, now complete, wall soft. Washoy will likely come across to open that up, or Pune, obviously, with a breaching charge, can get that job done if required. Scars looking for top control to then pressure down below in towards kitchen. The Warden, though, to hold firm. Again, that's Dash. And we'll see if the Warden can have an influence on this round and on holding this presence up above. He gets taken low, but still survives.
He can use an EMP. He's not going to be able to use his glasses at that point, and then your flashbangs are going to be coming in clutch again. He's just going to be able to use his gadget right now and not get any punishment for it. His dots will be coming in and will take down Tayu. You see them rotating back out now. Dash going back behind the boxes, trying to find himself some security. Rack will find Maya, though, as still the pressure onto Geisha's coming in, but this time also from the top of Black. So definitely trying to clutch into that one position, because it is so important. It's direct verticality above, but Dash finds on more to C4, will find another, and suddenly it's only up to the Sophia up on the rappel, who's trying to recover that diffuser. Probably gonna get shot as soon as he repels in. Ghost Bro now is expecting the runouts to come through. That's one pickup, but there's still 3 more to find. Actually spots one other. But Dots is a little bit quicker on the trigger there.
Yeah, major misplay there from Scars. As you mentioned, they had the Thatcher EMPs available. And if you're going to play the Maverick, those EMPs need to be redistributed elsewhere. 2 key interactions where they could have been used, one against the Magnets, and then secondary against the Warden. Now, understandably, that particular interaction is quite rare, so it's not going to be
but
at the forefront. But at this level, that's the kind of deeper thinking you need on attack.
You saw Maverick tossing 2 flashbangs. It's like, it's not going to do anything with the warden there. It's like, you gotta make sure he doesn't have those glasses available. That's why you want to use that EMP, just to disable those gadgets. And it's not like you were going to use them anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's like you were looking at the setup, it's like, great, this is like quite literally the only place that it would matter to use those EMPs. So it's unfortunate that they didn't, realize that in time and fell afterwards. Might be a call they'll make later on. But it's a full rotation now from the side of Loss. And we're going back towards exhibition, which was a very one-dimensional round from the side of Scars, but also a very one-sided round as Lowe's just not receiving any pressure, just completely shutting them down, or right next to the breach, waiting for someone to make a push happen. So they definitely need to change something up there.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
At least they have the line in the Dokkaebi I talked about before. They needed something to stop the movement, or at least be aware of it.
Somehow we still continue on. Liquid, W7M refuse to die. Liquid, they are refusing to die. From 6-0 down, they fought back, forced overtime, and then win out the second map. That puts them on 5 points overall, which does mean later on after this game, if M80 cannot beat Bleed, they're out of this tournament.
Could you have predicted this?
Well, no, not from 6-0. I mean, no, I could not predict this at all.
That's like the windows.
I predicted the opposite.
It's the windows of when you could have predicted this. When it was 6-0, no. At the start of the groups, no. At the start of the day, no. It's
At 6-3, maybe.
maybe. And it's just unbelievable. And it always is. It's the beauty of this game. There's not many other games that can have it go from all or nothing.
Exactly.
Right? Every single round, apart from maybe sight lock, is the only thing that can carry over. No economy,
Yeah.
no missing operators.
You know
nothing
what's
but
so
siege.
fascinating about this? Firstly, as soon as we got off broadcast, it's like straight to the stats man in Fresh, and it's like, firstly, first 6-0 comeback, yes, confirmed here for SI24. Secondly, that was so defender-sided for Consulate, it dropped a whopping 8% attacking win rate, which was, again, the highest coming in to this game for the tournament. It dropped 8% in one match. That is astronomical. It is now no longer the best attacking map at the tournament simply because of this game. This is why statistics isn't always, you don't always put everything into stats. Stats lie.
Stats lie.
Sometimes.
The storyline
Doesn't.
The storyline is what matters here, and this is a comeback story. I mean, it as I said, it's the magic that you want on Derby Day. You want
The magic of the cup.
the magic of the cup. You want the magic of the cup. You want teams that are sort of, surprised going up against each other. They have such a history,
Wait, hang on.
and they can't shake it off. They knew that they were trouble when they walked in. They're a blank space. Look what they made them do in this Bad Blood.
American football. That's all I've got.
Can you do an American accent?
No, absolutely not. I cannot do an
Give it a
American
try.
accent. But what?
Say the team, Kansas City.
Kansas City Chiefs. American football.
I can't. Is she Southern? I don't even remember. Where's Taylor Swift
Why
from?
did that sound like Michael Jackson for a second?
Where's Taylor Swift from? Is she American? Hi, I'm Taylor Swift. I love football as well. Okay.
It's me, Travis Kelsey, and of course I'm here with Taylor Swift.
Hi, I'm always here.
Always on
I
camera.
sometimes
Always
fly
stealing
to
the
Japan and
spotlight.
Australia. Yeah. We're going off to Bank next, where we'll be
Aren't you
playing-
supposed to be in Australia?
Ooh, I should probably leave.
Yeah, probably get
Yeah,
going.
I'll go
On the way, stop off at the bank,
I will.
because that's
Make a
where we're
deposit.
going very, very shortly, of course, here for Liquid and W7M. Final game of the series. Sure to be a good one. Hard to predict, apparently. And rightfully so,
Whoa!
after what we just saw from the last map.
I mean, the fact that that's gone to 45-55 from where it's... Oh, dude.
Well, I mean, would you not want to back in the team that
Oh,
just came
full
back from
send
6-0? You saw the emotion that they clearly displayed after they won that game. Like, I'm no, stats man. Clearly, I'm not fresh. I don't play ranky. But what I will say is,
You
in
play
terms
ranked.
of raw, yeah, I play ranked. In terms of raw emotion, what that can do for you going into the next map, it's massive in terms of sports psychology.
Huge.
All the momentum. And for W7M, to be fair as well, this now makes it harder for them to top group because Virtus Pro play tomorrow, and now all they have to do is go 2-0.
I mean,
Just saying.
The stories. The magic of the cup. The magic of the cup. Ossa is not going to be part of the magic of the cup here. Banned on Bank. Yeah, fair enough. There's a couple of particular plays that we saw even earlier today, or at least I did when I was casting it on the other stream.
Yeah, so if Virtus Pro 2-0 bleed tomorrow, they will top this group. W7M will not top their group.
No.
Because of what's happened in that map. They can win this now, and honestly doesn't mean anything. In fact, this probably doesn't really mean anything for Liquid either. To be completely honest, I don't see a world in which how this is going to change much for Liquid. Sorry, and I mean in terms of topping the group.
Yeah.
Obviously, what it does for them is it means they are very unlikely now to get grouped. We had that storyline kind of brewing, the fact that Team Liquid tomorrow play M80. Obviously, if M80 and Liquid had have met, if Liquid lost 2-0, Liquid would be on 4 points and M80 on 0, which meant an M80 win. You get the picture. 2 + 2 = 5. And clearly, though, for now W7M, this loss on that map means that they can't top the group if Virtus Pro 2-0 bleed tomorrow. And that's a big if, because Bleed are obviously a very good team, and they've got every chance of being able to take maps off anyone, apparently. They took a map off Liquid. They obviously went and... well, actually, they beat Liquid.
They beat Liquid. They took a map off W7M.
Exactly, yeah.
They are technically the top dogs in the showdown. The thing that this...
What a fun group.
If Liquid wins this, the one worrying thing for Bleed fans is it makes Bleed's chances a little bit shakier. I think.
Well, Bleed, no, not necessarily. Yes, the fact that they're on 4 points, but Bleed actually play M80 after this game.
Right.
So we'll know that answer immediately. So Bleed only have to probably get a map off of M80, I would say. I mean, ideally they beat them, and I think they're very likely to beat them. But yeah, it does make that next game really enticing.
Spicy.
Either way, we've got this game though first, which has obviously going to be a very fun ending. I mean, for W7M, if they lose this, they are certainly not going to get top of this group. Like, they, at least win this, and then it gives them a chance going into tomorrow, not because of what they can do, but maybe what Virtus Pro will do. There's still a lot on the line for them to win this map, and the same obviously then goes for Liquid as well. You jump up quite a lot if you can get that second map to go from either 1 point to 3 points. It does mean a lot. Get over the line. Plus, also, I think for Liquid, there's probably a little bit more. They would love to just beat W7M.
Oh, yeah. It has been a long time since they last were able to beat them. They haven't been able to beat them this whole year, I believe, unless there was one at the very beginning, but I would have to...
You're like, I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. I want to be confident. I'm as confident in this as I was in making the bit with Taylor Swift song titles earlier. I'm not a big Swiftie. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I listen to miserable...
I'm also not a Kansas Chiefs fan.
Who are you a fan of?
Up the Packers. Go Pack, go.
Oh, yeah. Green Bay.
If there's any Packers fans in the chat, go Pack, go.
Do you know what they should do? You know how at NFL games when they do cut to like lookalike celebrities, they should do that with like audience members and the talent at the live stage and see how it goes. A minute 20 has passed at this point-ish, and everybody is still standing.
Yeah, well, mainly because right now for Liquid, it's a 5-on-site stack here, Locus and CCTV, hence why we're kind of just chatting around, because there's nothing really to talk about right now. W7M have just got a bit of a freebie up above, no roam game from Liquid. They're just more than happy to play Denial down below, which is interesting, because they've really only got the smoke and the Vulcan canisters that can be dealt with by the Roteros. Bang, fire. Minute 20, so Vulcan canisters kind of pretty much dealt with now in terms of that server side push. We'd like to see at least something else from W7M in terms of maybe the hatch play, main stairs, but right now from Liquid, it very much is just on-site hold and just hope that that's going to be enough. And Bank basically into vaults, hitting these gas babes to deny plans.
Now Resets is watching a bit of a long angle all the way from the back end of the site. Philippox has control of the hatch as well. He's hoping to try and get a catch on a player that might try and get a catch on a player swinging wide. It's Hertz that gets the opener onto Volts. Finally finds the first, and unfortunately for them, it's the smoke that gets removed. Going for maybe the throw of the first bit of gadgets. The second fight is the follow through, and it's Parlo who gets his head taken off by Hertz as well. They have the cover, and they have the first two bodies. This seems pretty cut and paste right now for a round going into Liquid's favor because, well, against Liquid's favor even, because they just cannot get close to the fight. Look at this. They have been entirely strong-armed. Anything close towards stopping this plant. Nask has to go for the retake up the top. You assume it's going to be watched by at least a drone. In a post-plant, 2 versus 5, they have vertical control. I mean, that was not just a flawless round, that was a flawless attack for my books on that site.
Yeah, I mean, it's the case of, though, no real pressure from Liquid. That's the issue for mine. The fact that there was no real, like, proper flank. They really weren't able to get any pressure over towards server. Blue stairs is typically a position that is held. You might have even the smoke get super aggressive with a shotgun up close or a mute, for example. They didn't really offer anything there, Liquid, which meant then for w7m, time was not a factor because they were able to obviously get through the checklist really quickly. We saw them opening up the site from server. No real contest. They dealt with Volp, so there went obviously the gas babes. They were able to also deal with those Vulcan canisters really early off the Roteros. And there was no kind of then second option from Liquid in terms of how they could then change that round late in the round. And clearly then it was flawless from w7m. Didn't really make any mistakes, but that's mainly in part because Liquid's defense was a little bit poor, a little bit shoddy. And again, maybe moving a little bit away from what was so successful on Consulate, which was that counter aggression, which was the lax of resets in their face. So you're just sitting back aside. w7m will take. You need to get in their face. That's why they were so successful. So for Liquid, don't go away from what worked in that 6-0 comeback.
5 seconds left before.
Okay, this is gonna maybe cause some trauma. Imagine if we have a 6 attack, 6 attack.
No.
It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No. I would need
It's
a
not gonna
therapist immediately after the broadcast ends.
I got a photo between maps 2 and 3 of the admin team, our wonderful admin team, of the person running the match, just lying on the floor, face down in the carpet after the last map. I understand.
I understand.
They saw us in the chair. I fully get it. w7m, they're able to break the deadlock and get the first attack here, get themselves off to a bit of a strong start. And as I said, it was not only a flawless, but it felt very flawless as well. They just, as I said, muscled, strong-armed, pushed, bullied, and pronged the players away from being able to offer any utility into the swing. It was, this is how we run it in scrims as possible. Nesk trying to find a little sneaky play out, a little sneaky route. And he's looking for an option, an escape route here. Herds is coming in on top with some pressure, with some presence. He's dancing around a drone. Volps, how long can you survive? The Mozzie, the Aussie, trying their best to waste as much time as possible, but with a Monty, the French Chonchi. Oh, that hits. So much you can do. Wow, they find one though.
Not bad. Neska's now kind of forced back down. Oh, I love the vault there from Hertz. Talk about aggression. Understanding that in that moment, Neska's really more worried about maybe getting back down towards site rather than wanting to take the fight. So Hertz understands, okay, let's go chasing. Good little vault. Catches Nesk as soon as he's making his way down towards bot main. And it gives w7m the advantage again. At least this is a bit better from Liquid in the fact that they kind of forced w7m to go for that clear. They're getting into these fights. Could have maybe had little moments go their way. Alas not, but at least buying some time. It's not all clean for w7m. They don't have everything they would have liked to have had by this point. They're not in the positions of, say, like server without really any kind of contest from Liquid. So this is better. Resets with the drop. Elite Pox on the Monty now. Just kind of scans around Staff and open. Spots the castle barricade. Hello. Little Palu in the corner. Oh, Palu's still good for one, though. Oh, not bad from Palu. Honestly, the fact that he even just gets that one kill there is at least something.
I mean, really shouldn't have been able to take a body out of it. They still have the Monty, but we've got to try and get this kit and this plant down. Nade with all of the smokes and the bolts that they can make. JV92, not sure if they've utilized their hard streak charges onto the same positions they had before or elsewhere, but the rotate comes through now with about 28 seconds to go. It seems like no, the walls and the castle are still standing. So they're going to have to try and hot drop those hatches. I don't know if they've noticed yet, but they've dropped down on the wrong end of it. So they're just going to have to smash and breach their way onto this. With only 10 seconds, it's really a bit of a grab here. Resets is watching for the single player on the top. Lagonis went for a rotate, pulled back, changed his mind, and now he's firing at, well, nothing other than what he's been seeing. Caught out, and oh, that's a bit of a rough one to swallow.
Yeah, a little bit strange considering the time left in that round. Certainly could have gone more for the plant to not. I think he eventually wanted to get to hatch, right? And in that moment, you want to get the vert. But the time was the issue and the fact that they didn't have the numbers anyway. But a better round at least from Liquid. I'm trying to give them some plaudits because they at least did something a lot better than what they did in the first round where it was just a 5-on-site stack. This time they forced w7m into that roam clear. It was actually rather effectual, but still w7m were just better and they were able to deal with it. And that's the reason why they go on and win that round. Eventually got the plant, eventually rotated to server. It was late, opened up the castle barricade really easy with secondaries, and then, of course, got the win. This is the issue that we kind of had with the end of the last game, though. I can't remember if you said it on here or off here, but it was like, you go through all that comeback, you do this amazing 6-0 to 6-6, and you win the game, don't now just go to bank and just revert back. Please come and, you know, come to the party.
I will take credit for saying that. That wasn't me. I went to get an energetic drink.
A refreshing
beverage.
Well, someone said it.
Someone said it, but I'll take credit. Yeah, it was me. I said it. I said it.
But how many
Taylor Swift said it.
How many times have we been in these scenarios there where Team A does this amazing comeback and then Team A sucks in the next match?
100%. It's happened so many times. It's happened an unfortunate amount of times. And you want to see them, I guess, keep some of that energy, some of that momentum, because is it an argument of how exhausting it is to do what is the toughest comeback? There's the questions of your, hyper-focusing, over-focusing, you get out of it, and suddenly all that exhaustion hits you, and you realize, oh, we've got to do this one more time. Wipe the sweat off your brow. We're back in. Whereas W7M, I'm not going to say they weren't giving it their 100%. They obviously are, but at the same time, you could feel the heat and the pressure. You could feel the tension of the hand holding the mouse that swung for all the kills in the side of Liquid a lot more than you could for W7M. Then you take a breath and you go back into it, and it takes a little bit of time to really get yourself to that intensity. The drones are rolling around, they're going for the early catch, and so far W7M has been very clear and concise at what they want to go for first.
Do wonder though for Liquid. Yeah, I mean resets 0-3. I was about to say he hasn't got any kills, he hasn't gotten involved. You kind of think back to Consulate, who was the circuit breaker. It was resets. The fact he dies early, one, no longer good. But two, he's also playing the Echo. That's someone you want absolutely alive, the longest, if possible, out of your entire operator lineup. And so the fact that he's dead really now makes this third round difficult for Liquid. At least Ness has been able to get his first kill of the game. A very important one as well. Philippox on the Monty towards Long Desk. But of course, sight over towards Staff and Open. But a bit of vert now, at least for W7M.
They've lost the hard breach. They still have two sort of pockets in openers for the quad wall itself. And with Volps going down, they're losing the smoke canister. Was that vertical? They're going to get the player back up. A little bit curious. Did they just get caught? I am assuming, yeah, hit the rotate above the hatch and didn't quite expect the fight. A minute on, you can see W7M, they're weighing up just where they want to make their approach, hacking the cams and getting the coordination of everything involved, including any Valkyries that might still be around. The IQs in the pocket of Herds. You hope that they've been able to herd.
I don't think they're going to open up quad. I don't think they've got the time for it, and the Montang is the one who's got the secondary hard breaches, so clearly they're over towards stock. I think he's just going to go for a drop. I legitimately think this might just be a drop.
As is able to find one more, they've pulled themselves back to the little sliver of safety. They have at least one F.mine on the back end to make sure that if someone does try to swing in from the side, they get the sight. There's Ness trying to get the fight. He can't quite get the motion. The Monty's coming down, but the rotate over the top. We can see the Valkyrie. Palu's going for an adventure. He's looking for the fight, but they've pushed away. They've moved to a slightly safer spot. Lagonis is the last pick they're trying to find, and there he is. The pings on the players. They're waiting to see where the kick goes down. They know where both the two Liquid players are, and neither of them can get a breath. And W7M, clever play there because they got inside the site, but they didn't go, let's go for the play. Even though there was 20 seconds, 15 seconds left, they went, let's find where they are and work out what to do.
Yeah, I do wonder if they had info on Palu going for that main stairs flank in towards stock. I don't know if they actually had the information or not, but if they did, that would be a big reason why they kind of just then pushed forward in and away from that drop position, understanding that Palu's going to go in towards stock and then try and look down and be like, oh, well, I'm going to get him from behind. The fact that they just kept moving was the reason why they won that round. Really solid. And the fact that they were also able to deal with Nesk, who, yeah, maybe didn't die to those nades, but he was also displaced a little bit. Then the flashes, he couldn't really stop the drop either because of that Montang. Again, Liquid, I didn't think did awful things. I can't believe I keep saying it, but the fact that they forced W7M to roam clear, then they obviously had to do some really nice plays towards the hatch drop. They couldn't get quad wall opened up. It certainly wasn't the most clean round from W7M, but W7M were just better. And these are the same words I was basically saying first half of Consulate. Like, Liquid weren't awful, but W7 were just better. And then the script just completely, not even flipped, just went up in flames. And it was just like, yeah, so I can't discount Liquid, but the fact that they've lost 3 defensive rounds to begin, especially 2 of them on lockers and CCTV, really does suggest to me that they have not turned up here on Bank. But hey, I just saw them win from 6-0. Maybe they'll do it again.
Oh, it's not over till it's over.
Apparently.
It's not done till it's done.
Yeah, I don't give up on teams anymore. I've learned my lesson.
I think this is obviously, well, I mean, it could be much worse attacking than it was previous map. It's Bank It's known. It's a known entity. And it's one that is so sort of evident in how these two teams are approaching it as of yet. There's a lot of responses to what each other's doing. And it, as I said, becomes this argument of if Liquid were doing what they're doing against a lot of other teams, they'd be winning these rounds. But it's against w7m.
There are so many similarities that I'm having, like PTSD deja vu flashbacks. Like, the last game that I cast earlier today was NIP GK, and it was like Consulate Bank, right? And like at least 2 of the 3 maps that we've played in this series. And like me and Hat were in agreement that like NIP should have won that 2-0. But we went to a 3rd map, and why? And it's like the same thing's happening here. This really should have been a 2-0. Like, we should not be on this map. But why? Well, things happen sometimes in this game. And then what ended up happening on that 3rd map, it was like a 7-1 beatdown. And that is right now what I feel like is transpiring is Herds is going to make the rappel in towards airlock. He's barricaded off, can't hit the shots though to get landed towards front desk. Resets, is able to just survive. Love the turnaround though towards top spiral with the kill. Still 4 versus 4, a lot of low members, and Herds is down, so technically only 3 standing for w7m.
Getting themselves a bit of a space. Laguna suffers on the opposite end, and with this, the pickup and the body balance is swapped back round.
Oh my god.
KZ has massively
Emmy,
shown
I've
up
had
in that
enough.
second. w7m, they find 4 attack grounds in a row. Are you feeling it, Mr. Travis Kelsey?
Mr. Kelsey?
Mr. Kelsey?
You know what I found out? Is apparently it's like, it's meant to be just Kels, but their father got so sick of like correcting people that they just gave up and were like, it's Kelsey.
It's Kelsey.
Tactical timeout taken by Team Liquid, down 4-0, and not for the first time today. In fact, back on Consulate, they were down 6-0. And yeah, they won the map. That's right. If you missed that one,
Yeah,
I'd suggest to go back and watch it. Certainly a fun one. You don't often get to see 6-0 comebacks.
You want similarities?
I've never done 2 6-0 comebacks in a row. Have you?
I don't think anyone has. I don't think that's ever been done in the history of Siege. It would be a first.
We could be on for something historical right now.
Because this is the thing. Okay. We are at this exact same timeout after the 4th round. I think it might have been Herds that was 7-0-1. Now they're 7-1-2.
Oh, yeah, true. And then he died. Yeah.
And now it's happening again.
Are we in a simulation?
I think
Do we live in like a
so.
simulated world?
I think so.
It's really difficult to process because w7m, what they're doing now on Bank is what they did on Consulate. Utterly dominant, no real mistakes. They look like the champions that they are.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you think back to Clubhouse, they won that 7-3, and that was a little bit more conventional to the spiciness that has developed back on Consulate, now over to Bank as well. There is no world... We should not be playing right now. Like, w7 have been so far and away better than Liquid, it's just not even funny. Now, obviously, we give the plaudits and the credit to Liquid. The comeback was amazing, and that really does show value in their mental fortitude. And the resilience to obviously not give up, not give in, to keep fighting, and all of that. That's all great, fun stuff. It's okay, but we like winners. And that's been the theme of this series, and w7m are the winners. At least they should be. And if they don't end up winning the series, I'm going to be seriously confused.
You'll have some words.
I'm not going to be angry or upset. I'm certainly not going Parker levels here, but like I think.
Well, he's always angry and upset.
There's a big level of confusion as to the way this game has played out.
If Talent were doing lookalikes, like in a Super Bowl match, his would be Oscar the Grouch, the man who lives in the bin that is a Muppet.
Did you just call Parker a Muppet?
And a Grouch. I got him with 2 insults in one way, and this is 2 stories of watching for a single way into the site. He's hoping, Herds, that he's gone uncontested here, that they don't think that a player's been able to get into this hatch position, because you look at sort of where the site is and where the players are, this wiggle, that's the fight, but they have that awareness, and he's not getting rewarded for
Fleetbox is planting. He's just straight in, over towards default, and he's got a member in KZ watching. This is going to be an easy plant. No one from Team Liquid has watched this at all. I mean, talk about just waltzing into sight. Nice drop from Palu, but it's nowhere near sight, and of course the plant has already gone down, and now you're going to deal with the Montang. There is no Nitro Cells. 2 impacts through Palu suddenly become extraordinarily valuable. Inside of the chat is some more words. I think it was just an NS to Palu. But ultimately, what do you even do in this scenario now? KZ can just play out of E-Box. You've got Nate towards top blue stairs. It's 5-0. Surely. Palu does have the impacts, got the kill. Doesn't matter though. w7m heard Volps chirping. And now they've chirped back.
They saw opportunity. They split theoried their way across. And they took it.
That's interesting because they've done something that doesn't exist.
You know, Fresh inventors, but
He loves to tell you that.
that's what I tell everybody. CEO is well ahead. Palu obviously took the drop. I'm wondering if Palu regrets taking that drop, as weird as it is to say. Obviously, he got the kill on the back of it.
It's not Parley's fault because prior to that, it was just the fact no one's watching the...
Yeah, exactly. But like him hitting that drop is the second the plant gets confirmed,
maybe.
and he goes,
now I gotta...
I need to go back up.
You know what's interesting about that drop, though, is like in another world, if he does have more help, he can eventually rotate up blue stairs, and I actually would have liked that in the fact that w7m had someone there, and then they had someone in E-box, so you can be the player to try and deal with that, but they just didn't have the numbers. So as soon as he drops, he's like a big factor of the on-site immediate defense, and he probably needed to stay, but I mean, at this point, we're shaping up for another 6-0.
5 seconds remaining.
Like, I can't believe it. What was the point of, like, the amazing comeback of Liquid?
If this is a 7-0, I'm going to... Oh, no, I can't snap this pen in half. It's fresh as he landed to me. Something will be snapped in half. The table.
Don't look at me.
I'm gonna RKO you through the
I've
table.
already had a broken arm. I don't need another one.
I can't RKO you through a table. That's the only thing stopping me doing that.
Okay,
Is that you had a broken arm.
Yep.
Otherwise, you would be so RKO'd through this table.
I'm so RKO-able.
Oh, I hear voices in my head. They talk to me and tell me that this is still going. 5-2-0. Liquid. They don't quite have anything. Oh, JV92.
You know the other issue as well is look how dominant this is. There is only 3 kills on 4 players of Liquid through 5 rounds. 3 kills, 4 players, 5 rounds. Now, Palu's got 4. He's gotten a couple. Ness also now gets involved as I talk about it. There's the kill. Second one for Ness. But what I'm trying to insinuate here is this is just utter dominance from w7m. Liquid are not in these rounds. They don't have much control. They're not setting precedent. They're not in control of the rounds. They're not setting the pace. And they're not really getting aggressive. Finally, there, at least for Palu. He's been the one to at least do something so far here on Bank. Where's the rest? Okay, better from resets. He was the hero back on Consulate. He's got 2 now in the 2 versus 2. This is winnable for Liquid.
Suddenly, there's a situation where they might be able to pull this together. Suddenly, for the first time in what feels like the whole half, it's a bit of an even brawl. It's a bit of a fight. All it took was threatening to RKO you through a table. 2 apiece. Still standing with a huge amount of time here for the attackers to try and reevaluate what they want to do here. A little bit of utility, but the problem is KZ has a little bit of health. Nothing as of yet. Bullypox still hasn't died in this engagement.
This is the last drone, by the way, that they've got in terms of the next 60 seconds, so they really don't want to lose this. At least Janitor droned out, and so they can play double stack off of each other. If not, mine also goes away. Over towards front desk side is currently where Liquid are playing. They've got good angles. Red ping, so information here onto the 2 members of w7m. This should be a Liquid round.
Very clean take there from Palu again. He's just keeping himself.
I guess it's just a belt cam.
Oh, there's a bulletproof up there.
Oh, bulletproof.
On the wall of stock. There's getting some hideous bits of information. He's just got to go for it at this point. The IQ reveals it, but you don't really need.
Oh, there should be like another belt cam in there because they were like deep inside of Janitor getting red pinged.
Well, now they're deep inside the afterlife.
Oh. Wasn't quite sure where you were going with that one, but eventually you went to the right direction. 5-1 to close out the first half. Liquid.
It's not going to be a 6-0.
It's not going to be a 6-0. It's certainly not going to be a 6-0 comeback, but hey, if they can make it a 5-1 comeback, that's pretty good.
It would have been our 3rd technical 6-0 half in a row of major halves, because it was 6-0 to 6-6, so that's a 6-0 half. 6 rounds without a response.
Oh, yes, you're right.
And then it would have been another 6-0 half.
Would have been, yeah. Well, really difficult to sort of digest where we're going to go with this because Liquid's attack was obviously quite impotent back on Consulate against the, 6-0 defense. And so don't quite know what we're going to get from this. Again, statistically, Liquid coming into the series were 70% defensive win rate and like 30% attacking win rate. Again, that's just the nature of the tournament, but they're on the lower scale. We're talking bottom 5 of attacking win rate. Like bottom 5. So they're the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it does now mean, can they go and somehow suddenly go on 4 attacking rounds?
Things have to connect in ways that they haven't even been connecting on this map. As you said, the sort of kill spread here, Palu is doing everything he can to keep them in it. The best the others have really managed is 2 kills apiece. Then you look at the other side, w7m. All of them have cleared that. A lot of them by multiple
We're seeing a
counts.
Malusi. Not often we see Malusi these days.
The only operator... Okay, someone's outside. Oh, they're just doing stuff in dirt, sorry. The only operator we haven't seen this tournament is Rook.
Interesting. I'm sure at some point someone brings a Rook out.
Just for fun. Probably G2.
Either way, I mean, like, this is also the kind of site, going back to that conversation regarding, like, the difficult nature here for Liquid attacking, needing 4 attacking rounds. Like, Locker's CCTV alone is already a very good defensive site here on Bank. W7M, more than clinical enough off the back of the smoke mirror combo. I'm curious to see what the Banshee's going to do as well from the Malusi. You've got the Warden eventually when those maybe smokes and or flashes do come through. There are a lot of smokes as well that are going to be on the side of Liquid in terms of Palu, in terms of obviously resets. Goodbye, Palu. Never mind, but you do have obviously Volps as well in the Capital.
AZ has been, I think, his best performance so far at the start of this map. The best time for him to
struggled
show
on
up.
the first map. Can't recall Consulate.
He wasn't quite, but to be honest, he didn't really need to be there as intently as the others. Maybe a little bit more on Consulate would have helped, but here they lose Palu. They lose that one person we've been citing as the one that's able to get in and get fights on. There is so much pressure now, and it's not that the guns of Liquid aren't capable of doing it. They've just been struggling with getting it done in this engagement, in this map as of this point. A minute 20. This is probably out of almost every single site, one of the top, if not the top ones that has a known utility burn towards the default plant spot. They have a lot of work still to do, and they are well aware of it.
Lagonis is rotating that diffuser towards square, towards the server side push. That's the way that Liquid want to take this. Bulbs and Nesk have actually made their way out over towards blue stairs. Lagonis still has that kit server side. They've got themselves the hatches. There's 60 seconds left. They're down a player. It's going to take a bit of a miracle. In fact, I think they might anticipate, let's go and get a bit of pressure main stairs. The drone initially, but then that's all about it. Nesk with the frag grenade. Let's get rid of the barbed wire. 45 seconds. The smoke canisters are now being deployed as well from KZ. Still has 2 more, and certainly can still delay a lot of time here. To counteract that, the best thing you can do with the kit, push past the gas bay, go to the bomb chassis, then play off at the hatch.
There are C4s on board as well. You can see they've pulled out. They've dropped onto gold hatch, but instantly picked apart. Nesk has crept his way down green.
What is Lagonis doing?
Finds one fight. They're going for the plant. Lagonis went for it, and he's just going to sit and stick. As suddenly, it's just Lagonis going for the plant himself. A 1 versus 2. They go for the retake. Clever move here. You're going to get the control above. You have the single player holding onto it. The Banshee on the table is causing some problems.
Oh, he didn't know he dropped. He didn't know he dropped. He thought he was still maybe either in the act of dropping or at the hatch itself. Started to look up, and that was it. That's all she wrote. W7M will go 6-1 up. Match points aplenty, of which they had plenty back on Consulate, but this is a different story. Defense here on Bank. They get lockers and CCTV. And for Liquid, it seems as if that miracle comeback of Consulate is going to be maybe not for naught. I actually don't want to say that, because that one map win alone changes things quite heavily, because they're not on 4 points, they're on 5 points. But it does mean it's been a bit of a disappointing third map after the heroics of Consulate. And by the way, for those that missed it, hello. For those that missed it, Volps started getting very chirpy at the end of Consulate when they got that win, when they got that comeback. So for W7M, this is even sweeter. It's like, you guys thought you were going to beat us? You thought you were going to win?
You guys thought you had that?
You guys thought you had that?
No. That's why.
You really thought you won?
Sorry, you're
I'm very quick. I'm very
You're
sharp. I'm not like,
hello.
the Guz meme that obviously James posted on Twitter, where he's like getting up.
yeah, me and Guz like. Yeah, and you were mid-sentence. Hello. Oh, that tickles me. That tickles me. 6-1. Liquid so far have only tickled W7M on this map. We'll see if they can try and turn that into a little bit more of a hearty blow here up towards CEO. I'm getting the sounds of a plant and a fight and a replay. I'm getting those done now. It's just moments of madness, I think, at this point.
The voices.
The voices. I hear them in my head. The approach now. Instantly up towards the top of square. It seems like the players generally keep themselves in the top floor, though. No one's wanting to try and explore the map against Liquid here. W7M, they're happy to sit.
And Volps, he's gotten very aggressive there. And I want to say why, because the fact that he hasn't even thrown through. You want the vert. I think on the buck, he's in the best position. But, like, you haven't really checked all the angles properly. You haven't really seen, is there someone sitting in a corner? And then eventually just kind of oversteps one mark, and there's a vert angle watching down. He's dead. There goes the buck, and that's a big piece of this round for Liquid in terms of the vert play from below for CEO. 2 and 8 from Volps. A bit of a struggle for someone that was a bit chirpy at the end of Consulate. He hasn't quite backed it up on Bank, unfortunately. Neither is his team, though, outside of Palu. Lagona's 0-7, resets 2 and 6. He was amazing on Consulate. Nesk has been okay for the most part. It's been a disappointing Liquid here on Bank. We'll give them the pat on the back for their heroics on Consulate. But that's it. Nothing else. And it seems as if the series win should go the way of w7m, and a deserved series win as well. They were incredibly dominant on Clubhouse. They were far and away better on Consulate, but couldn't obviously close out on their own attack. Doing so here on Bank. 6-1, up by 4, minute 20 left. What can Liquid do from the roof, rappelling down?
Their best at this point, and that's all you can really ask for. The flashes over the top. They're going to see if they can try and maybe swing onto the stair sets, the blinds against the window. The Kiba barricade will stop that immediate push, and they missed the opportunity to get the strike as another Kiba barricade comes out. All of this time being wasted and taken away and making those attempts at an attack. You look at the utility that was dumped there. Grim was firing the bees. There's a fear charges. Palu goes underneath. They get the pinch onto the player, force them out of position. They're just going to have to try and scream their way up Spiral. Nade, his eyes are a little bit locked forward onto the window player, but it's Nesk that wins out.
Top square.
Top square, and now suddenly you can see these players of w7m starting to pull their way back round. The bees will reveal that nobody is currently on the balcony, but JV92 is very much expecting it with 30 seconds.
That's Kit. That's Kit, by the way. If Lagonas dies here, top Spiral, that's Kit, but he wins the battle. So critical. He dies, 25 seconds, no Kit. Instead, now he can actually get close to site. Doesn't even need to get to site. Nice second kill there from Lagonas. KZ towards airlock, and Lagonas with a triple, pushing up Spiral. Clean. Felt like a pivotal moment in that round because, again, if he dies, that's Kit in a bad position. No one else was even close by. Time was going to be a big factor. We stay alive here with Liquid.
His first kill of the game, I believe, as well.
First 3.
First 3. I mean, what a time.
Yeah.
What a time to pop in. Got the first and the lead in, get the next 2. And maybe they just play better when they're 6-1, 6-0 down.
Maybe
they need to be on the wrong side of map point.
I don't even know anymore.
We need the statistic of the difference of Liquid when they play when they're against map point and when they're not, and we'll see where the success comes from. 6-2. I mean, I'm going to say exactly the same things I would say against any showdown when it's 6-2, especially when you got w7m. This is probably going to end with w7m winning it. This is probably going to end with w7m winning it. This is probably not going to go to another overtime. I'm sorry, Liquid fans. I have to say it because statistically it's true. Now, Liquid fans, at this point, you go...
I also said it was statistically improbable at 6-0 in Consulate. And that's exactly what the Liquid fans would say.
That's what you need to say, Liquid fans. You say, Fluke, shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up, Fluke. It
literally just happened one map ago.
Possible. And then that's fine. And we've had this dialogue. I've said what I need to say. You guys have said what you guys need to say. Dialogue has happened. Sick. We can move past it.
You know what's interesting about that last round, though, because harping back on it, as much as Lagonas will get the plaudits with the triple kill pushing up Spiral, it was Nesk, I felt like, top square that really opened things up. So rather than just having everyone on the rappel around that airlock position, the fact that they sent one square, then one towards Spiral, opened up the map. Like, those are the kind of things I think that Liquid have been able to do when they're successful in this series. When they've been poor, it's because they're kind of one-dimensional. They all stack together. It's all a little bit easy. w7m have their backs at the wall. No one's coming behind them. That was much better because it's like, for w7m, the defense just gets spread thin. Like, they have to cover so many different areas. Top square, Spiral, rappel, KZ with a nice kill onto Nesk. That's a big loss, simply for the fact that Nesk has been pretty good so far on Bank. Again, another good start for w7m. Liquid have shown good resilience in this series, though, so don't count them out in the round. But they are on the back foot to begin here.
Similar to how things sort of played with them before, but there is still the drone, the approach, and they're going for this verticality. Palu, the point man, looking for some presence here on the top of white, but he's not entirely confident that he isn't being watched and isn't quite able to get the swing to the players that he wants. KZ has built himself a fortification here, and Palu with some bullets into Herds' head. Pulls himself back, expects to rotate, but it's Felipox that finds resets in the meantime, so he's like, oh, well, gotta go up and kill someone else.
Yeah, elevated position there, double push-up spiral, and I think he just wasn't watching. Volps then also tries to take the contest. Nice double win from Felipox. That might just be the round, unless Lagonas can go big again, as he did in the round gone prior. Now he needs to... Well, he's dead. Now it's up to Palu. The 1 versus 4. The GG comes out from Herds. The GG as well from Volps. Okay, well, I mean, it's one thing for the opposition to call it over before it's actually over. It's another, though, when you've still got your teammate alive. Like, trust in Palu just a little bit, Volps.
Yeah. KZ with the sleep.
A bomb has been
I don't...
No love lost, baby, though. Palu could still put them to sleep. There's time. 50 seconds to be exact. Through beepers he runs. That was not a bad shot either. Good hack the cam as well to get some cameras last second here. Needs to get that kit, though. It's a long way away from home. 40 seconds left. It's being watched. Close by. Yellow ping. He knows Nate is here. Or at least he should, based off of this yellow ping information.
Not entirely
He's just being cautious. He's being He should know this.
There's the fight. Doesn't quite get the connection with the SMG spray. Gets a bite on the second swing, but it's 20 seconds. They're holding on to the kit, and this is a ring around the rosies on the final fight. The other side of the shop, but it's all she wrote. Now you can type GG's and the good games. It was a game that went on maybe longer than it should have. And unfortunately, the end is here. W7M take the win, take the 3 points to the 1 that Liquid have been able to steal back from a historically meteoric performance. But all this does is confirm W7M out of the relegation zone possible in towards playoffs. Congratulations. Liquid, there's still a little bit of work to do, a little bit less than that.
Yeah, so 7-3 to W7M, 8-7 to Liquid, then 7-2 to W7M. And look, for all of that said inside of the server, it's still no love lost between these two teams. Hugs all around, and that's good sportsmanship. We'd like to see that between Liquid and W7M. What a series, though, Amy. It had it all. I mean, again, I think the scoreline maybe on Clubhouse a little bit inflated. I thought Liquid did quite well to lose 7-3. Yeah, maybe it was more of a 7-4, 7-5 kind of game. Consulate was just bizarre in the fact that it was a 6-0 start for W7M, coupled them with the massive comeback by Liquid from 6-0 down to bring it all the way back to OT, then closed it out 8-7. Bank, though, largely disappointing considering what we had prior in the first 2 maps, where obviously Liquid came into Bank, you would think, with all of the momentum, but it was W7M who came in and started really, really well.
It was a surprise. I think that's the fairest way of putting it. That feels a million years ago now.
It does, actually.
It feels such a long time ago. You obviously had this fight here on the second map.
Away.
This feels a million years ago. This felt like when W7M were at the strongest. Liquid fought back, but it was exhausting.
6-0, that's right.
And it's just...
And it was just 1 round at a time. That was kind of the message. At 6-0, 6-1, 6-2, we're kind of still joking around a little. Once it got to 6-3, we're like, okay, we need to like turn our attention back to this game properly. And Liquid just continued to storm home. You could see what it really meant for them as well. And then all of that for W7M to get OT match point, even then up 7-6. Still, Liquid held their nerve and closed it out. You could see what it meant for them. It's not often that you will get to come back from 6-0.
No.
They did it, and they did it against W7M, which is huge for the 2-time champions. But boy, did the 2-time champions bounce back on Bank.
I mean, you get onto Bank, you get onto W7M, onto this attack half that they had, where they just felt great. They felt fluid, they felt active. They felt like a team that realized what happened on the second map and then said, that is not happening again. Not only are we locking this off, we're making it quick. We are making it a GG in chat before the game is over. It was a powerful performance from a team who, as we said many times, it's rare to expect a team in the finals. That was cool.
That was cool.
Little celebration.
Yeah, and look, I think ultimately for W7M, the better of the 2 teams in this series, let's not get it twisted here. I think they should have honestly won this 2-0. For all intents and purposes. And had they done so, they would have been in a really good position to still top this group. Now, their fate kind of lies with Virtus Pro. Virtus Pro play tomorrow. If VP go 2-0 in their match against Bleed, VP will get top spot. Which means for W7M, they don't get to go straight to the quarterfinals. They'll have to go into a 2v3 matchup. Then you win that. Then you play a team that did finish top in their group, respectively. And I should obviously reiterate, for W7M, this is it. They don't play tomorrow, so they're stuck at 11 points. So for Virtus Pro, if they get all 4 points tomorrow, of course, they get to go top of the standings.
I mean, you're still looking at this table, as you said. There's games in hand today. There's games in hand tomorrow as well. M80, they have a total of 8 points that they could still take. So if that gives you a paint
Well,
to
actually,
see,
Bleed can go top of the standings.
Bleed could go top of the
Because
standing.
Bleed are about to play M80. You win that, you go to A if they win at 2-0. Then they play Virtus Pro tomorrow. And the winner in a 2-0 fashion would go top of the standings.
If Bleed...
Oh, if Bleed top this
Someone is
group.
getting RKO'd through a table. If Bleed.
Let's go to the stats from this match that we've had here, of course, for W7M and Team Liquid. It's I mean, look, two teams that I think would have been vying off for that top spot. At least one of them is. The other one will be probably just content with the fact that they haven't been grouped. Let's be completely honest here. For Team Liquid, it's more of a reprieve. The fact that M80 have clearly struggled in this group. Now, that match comes up pretty much right after this, M80 versus Bleed. And like I said, if Bleed win 2-0, then the battle tomorrow with Virtus Pro's 4 top spot. Now, again, tiebreakers could become a factor as well for W7M. They certainly would hope that the match tomorrow is not a 2-0 for either of those two teams. Otherwise, they would lose that top spot as we go to the stats here for our match of Bank. But this is a fascinating group. I'm going to be honest. This was the most fascinating group coming into the tournament as well once I saw the groups for Group C. So the way it's shaping out is even more fascinating.
I think everyone was like, uh-oh, Bleed, when the group got announced. You were
and
worried.
I was like, uh-oh, M80, because I trusted in the Bleed boys.
Yeah, I mean, you have that, and I think, you know, you look at M80 on paper and you're like, this is a brilliant, brilliant team. That hasn't been able to, they've failed to launch, regardless of whether it's the meta, whatever's going on there. They just haven't been able to find that solidity. And yet, as you said, the fact that Virtus Pro as well, they have outperformed, I think, people's expectations. W7M and Liquid, they've underperformed in some ways. They're starting to show that they're world-class teams. And, you know, I don't think it's biased to say we want both of those at the live stages. Imagine
I'm
the
biased. Someone
audience.
played top of the group. I don't care. Just said it.
I want to see Liquid in front of 10,000 Brazilians. I want to see W7M play to their
I
want
to see a fish on the main stage.
I want to see a fish and a mannequin on a main stage.
And a mannequin as well.
The mannequin, whatever that mannequin is called.
What a fun series, though, at the very least, between these two teams. Because I think I would have been a bit disappointed had we not go to 3 maps.
Yeah.
The way in which we got there, and obviously the maps themselves, weird. Because it's like 7-3, 7-2, W7M just like toying with Liquid. And then that like second map was a 6-0 lead. Like it did not go the way I had planned. But the result is probably what I expected. It's all about the destination, not the journey. It's been so much fun, Emmy, by the way.
It's been a wonderful time.
Yeah.
Do I have to talk like this so you understand me again?
No, absolutely not. No, please, never.
What? I went to finishing school and I learned how to talk like I'm from Harry Potter.
Do you want to throw us to the break like that then?
Oh, throw us to the break. It's been absolutely wonderful casting with you, Australian stranger. We'll take it to a very quick break before we're back with the next game, which will decide if M80 are entirely pointless.